Touchdown, Otterbein!
Since 1894, these two bitter rivals have squared off on the gridiron for football supremacy.
Roll out to the far sideline, chucks it high, and it's intercepted by Alex Cameron. Alex Cameron comes away with it.
Separated by only 15 miles, these two are one of the biggest rivals in college football history.
To Rudolph, Sizemore throwing off his back foot. And what a catch by Bryson Ray! Oh my goodness!
Today, in the 88th edition of the game, Otterbein will try to extend their winning streak over Capital, while the Crusaders will try to bring bragging rights back to Bexley.
Another long run for Irvin. One man to beat. He's at the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Drew Irvin.
It's Otterbein in Capital, here on OTV.
Hi and welcome to Westerville, Ohio here at Memorial Stadium. I'm Jordan Brown alongside Harrison Ralph as we prepare and get ready for the Otterbein Cardinals to take on the Capital Crusaders here today. Harrison, a team that Otterbein is very familiar with, neighbors, if you will, to Columbus. And today we'll see them take on a game that's really the rival team for Otterbein.
It is. Otterbein has had somewhat of a disappointing year after finishing 8-2 last season, but a win today would really cure everything. From the losses to Heidelberg, Mount Union, they've lost 2 in a row. But if Otterbein can come back, win here at home against Capital, their biggest rival, that would do a lot for their season and moving forward for the program.
Absolutely, and as the stadium starts to fill up a little bit, let's talk a little bit about the injuries that Otterbein's been facing this year. Steve Carpenter just coming out with a hand injury. Talk a little bit about who we're going to see on the field and who might be questionable.
Well, I think Steve Carpenter will play. Ben Sizemore, I believe, will play as well. Brick Davis, the backup quarterback, who we see time to time, is questionable. But I think as we're moving towards game time, he's leaning more towards doubtful. But Steve Carpenter is by far the best playmaker on the offensive side of the ball for Otterbein. Does a lot on special teams as well in the return game. It's good to have him, good knowing that he's going to be here because he's obviously one of the best players that Otterbein has in their arsenal.
Absolutely. Both Ben Sizemore and Steve Carpenter being game changers and necessary parts to this team, if you will. Now, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about OAC matchups and what we'll see later on today as the Otterbein Cardinals take on the Capital Crusaders. Stay tuned for your Cardinal Nation pregame show.
Who says 30 can't be fun? The Columbus Square Bowling Palace is turning 30, and the fun has just begun. Come celebrate our birthday with us. With 64 lanes of bowling open 24 hours for fun with friends and family. No matter what time it is, there's always time at the Palace. The Palace is the perfect place to hold your birthday party or corporate employee groups. Call us today to make your reservation. 30 years old and better than new, with millions of dollars in renovations at the highest rated bowling center in Columbus, the Columbus Square Bowling Palace.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they'd die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults, and one person dies from melanoma every hour. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. We're here counting down the minutes on the Cardinal Nation pregame show brought to you by Columbus Square Bowling Palace as Otterbein Cardinals will take on the Capital Crusaders. Harrison, we look a little bit into today's OAC schedule. We've got Baldwin Wallace taking on Marietta, Ohio Northern at Muskingum, and John Carroll at Wilmington. But the game of the week, other than the rivalry here today, would be Mount Union versus Heidelberg. Talk a little bit about that matchup.
Right, Jordan. I mean, across the country, really, Mount Union, Heidelberg is a game a lot of people are going to have their eyes on. Across the nation, Division III football, it is a huge game. Mount Union travels to Heidelberg to take on the Student Princes. Heidelberg ranked number 9 in the nation. Mount Union, of course, number 1. Both teams we've just lost to. 2 weeks ago we lost to Heidelberg here at Memorial Stadium. Last week we went up to Alliance and got beat pretty soundly up there. So we know these teams very well. I was able to go to the Mount Union game this past weekend, and I saw their team up close and personal, number 1 team in the country, and they look like it. I mean, they are a sensational football team, really solid all the way around. Their special teams made a ton of plays against Otterbein, something that Otterbein is going to have to fix today. But sticking with Mount Union and Heidelberg, I think Heidelberg is going to really have to run the ball extremely well, like they did here against us. Cartel Brooks, over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. I don't think they'll have that much success, but if Heidelberg's going to win, if they're going to knock off the big dogs, if they're going to knock off Mount Union, it's going to start with Cartel Brooks, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, something to look forward to.
Right.
Now, the game here today, this rivalry, as we've said a million times now, it's something that Otterbein has seen the Crusaders many, many times in the history behind this rivalry, bringing in tons of students to come watch the game today. Talk a little bit about Capital and their success this season.
Well, Capital, there's not a whole lot of success there, Jordan. I mean, they've won 1 game, but they're a team that can come out here and take it to Otterbein if Otterbein comes out and takes them lightly. If they take them as a 1-win team, that's trouble for Otterbein. Capital, it's a rivalry game, so Capital can, they're gonna be up and ready to go play this game here in Memorial Stadium in front of, a lot of their fans, in front of a lot of Otterbein fans. It's a bitter rivalry, and Capital's gonna be up, they're gonna be ready, but their offense runs right through the quarterback, Chase Longwell. He's only a freshman, but Chase Longwell, everything goes through him. He runs the ball, he throws the ball, he's leading the team in rushing, and he's also obviously leading in passing as the starting quarterback. They have a plethora of running backs who we're going to see. Bo Hardy and Alex Coleman are 2 of the guys, but we'll see 4 or 5 different backs back in the backfield carrying the ball. So Capital's going to try to run the ball. I mean, that's what they do best. That's what they like to do, and that's what Otterbein's going to have to step up and stop here today.
Absolutely, something we look forward to. Now our own David Kinder will see a little clip of football flashback, which you can catch every week on Cardinal Kickoff, as he describes the history behind this Otterbein rivalry.
The 1959-60 football season was one of the most memorable in school history. Led by 2-time All-OAC quarterback Larry Klein, Otterbein finished the season 7-2. In the season finale against Capital, Otterbein destroyed the Crusaders 60-28, with Klein throwing for 6 touchdowns, a school record that still stands. After Otterbein scored a touchdown late in the game to make it 60 points, they lined up for the extra point. The holder took the snap and then ran sideways out of bounds. It wasn't until minutes later that the stunned crowd realized what happened. The Cards had purposely avoided kicking the extra point to keep the score at 60 in honor of the senior class of 1960. It was the most points Otterbein had scored on Cap since the first meeting in 1894.
An interesting look into the history of Otterbein football there with all those flashbacks. But when we come back, we'll be looking into what Otterbein has to do today to get the W. Stay tuned.
Hey, Grace, tell Aaron.
Still up? Can't sleep? Looking for something to do? Come to a place where the fun never sleeps. Columbus Square Bowling Palace. It's been the premier bowling destination in Central Ohio for 30 years. With 64 lanes of bowling open 24 hours, no matter what time it is. There's always time at the Palace for fun with friends and family. Join the Night Out regulars at Columbus Square Bowling Palace, where the fun never sleeps.
A member of NCAA Division III, the OAC features outstanding educational programs in a small class setting, while offering competitive athletic opportunities in 23 sports. 10 private colleges and universities form the OAC, the nation's premier small athletic conference. Baldwin Wallace University, Capital University, Heidelberg University, John Carroll University, Marietta College, the University of Mount Union, Muskingum University, Ohio Northern University, Otterbein University, and Wilmington College. The Ohio Athletic Conference, where a proud history meets the promise of tomorrow.
Oh, hey, bud. Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
With Gary and Todd?
Yeah?
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't. I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Central Ohio.
Hi, and welcome back to Memorial Stadium. I'm Jordan Brown alongside Harrison Ralph on your Cardinal Nation pregame show brought to you by Columbus Square Bowling Palace. Today, Harrison, we talked a little bit about Otterbein taking on Capital and what Capital will have to do to get to the W. Talk a little bit about what Otterbein will have to do against the Crusaders today.
Well, knowing the Capital likes to run the football and that's their bread and butter, that's what they're going to try to do to establish some success on offense. We are going to have to really stop the run, and that's something we haven't done very often this season. We have not stopped the run very well at all. And, you know, again, we look back at Cartel Brooks and what he's been able to do this season and what he did against us, over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. We need to stop the run because that's what Capital's going to try to do. On offense, though, Otterbein is going to have to come out. They're going to have to play efficient football. They, you know, last week against Mount Union, they overthrew a lot of passes. Wide receivers did a great job getting open. They did. When you go back and you look at the film, they did a great job getting open. But whether it was Ben Sizemore or Brick Davis, there were a lot of overthrows and really missed opportunities for Otterbein. So those are going to have to get cleared up. You're going to have to block a lot better up front. Pass blocking, run blocking has both been an issue for the Otterbein offensive line all season long, really. But really, I mean, if they can do those things, I think Otterbein's going to have a great chance to win this football game.
Absolutely, and you got to take a look at throughout the past couple of games, the D-line and how Otterbein will be able to fix and tweak things a little bit to get the win today. Tell us what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, like I just said, you know, when you have guys missing blocks, when you have free rushers coming at the quarterback, when you have wide receivers getting open, creating space between themselves and the defender, and you're not hitting them, you're not getting the ball in a place where they can catch it and run, that's a problem, and that's what needs to be fixed. I mean, like I said, against Mount Union last week, I was down on the field, and I was able to really see how open some of these guys are getting, and I was able to see the offensive line for Otterbein and the kind of miscues, I guess you could say, that has led to sometimes an inconsistent run game, which we've seen a lot this season. So as long as they can, you know, establish some consistency on the offensive line, running the ball, throwing the ball, I think we'll be okay.
And communication is key. On the sidelines, I've always heard Daub saying, you know, we got to communicate, we got to talk, stay in constant contact, letting us know where you're going to be on the field. Now, when we come back, we'll look into an interview with a former football alumni. Stay tuned.
Who says 30 can't be fun? The Columbus Square Bowling Palace is turning 30, and the fun has just begun. Come celebrate our birthday with us. With 64 lanes of bowling open 24 hours for fun with friends and family. No matter what time it is, there's always time at the Palace. The Palace is the perfect place to hold your birthday party or corporate employee groups. Call us today to make your reservation. 30 years old and better than new, with millions of dollars in renovations at the highest rated bowling center in Columbus, the Columbus Square Bowling Palace.
Oh, hey, bud. Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
With Gary and Todd?
Yeah?
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't. I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
When I was 16, I was in a bad car accident, and the doctors told me I would never stand again. Somehow, I knew I would. Progress has been slow, but family, friends, and strangers all started to pray for me. Whether you need support in a tragedy or just to make it through a bad day, prayer can make a difference. America, let's come together by believing with each other. For someone to come alongside you and say, I'm going to believe with you, it means a lot.
I remember the moment clearly.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
I realized at that moment, when we first saw the damage, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community. Together with local responders, we cleared trees and collapsed walls. We had to get to the family trapped beneath. As a citizen soldier, I made a difference.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults 15 to 29. And one person dies from melanoma every hour. It's time. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Welcome back, Memorial Stadium here today on this chilly Saturday morning. As Otterbein Cardinals look to take on the Capital Crusaders, we're just minutes away until the game begins here on your Cardinal Nation pregame show, brought to you by Columbus Square Bowling Palace. Now we look into an interview here with Matt D'Orazio, a former Otterbein Cardinal himself, QB, and the interview with our very own David Kinder. We'll toss to that now.
Otterbein legend Matt D'Orazio, for those of you at home who don't know, Matt was the starting quarterback for the Cardinals from 1996 to 1999. He holds almost all the school's major passing records. In '99 was first-team Ohio All-Conference. After leaving the campus here in Westerville, he went to the Arena League, where he played and won 2 Arena Bowl championships, Arena Bowl 20 and Arena Bowl 22, with the Chicago Rush and the Philadelphia Soul, respectively. Even played with the Columbus Destroyers for 2 years here in Columbus. So, Matt, how have you been recently?
Things have been great. Just living here in Columbus with wife and 3 kids and supporting the Cardinals.
How much have you had a chance to be a part of this Cardinal organization since you have left?
Once I graduated, I was on Coach Rocky Alt's staff for a year, and then with Coach Joe Loth for a year. And since then, always following the Cardinals, but kind of got re-engaged when Don Stewart was hired, and been here to support the Cardinals and her certainly.
I don't know how much you've been able to see recently, but what do you think of this current Cardinal team and of what the job Coach Tim Daup has done entering his second year as head coach now?
Well, they're coming off a great year, 8-2 last year, and I think Tim Daup was a great hire, being an alum, understanding Otterbein football, and the players just, they really respect him and love him and go out there and give it their all for him and his staff. So if it's anything like last year, I think everybody's expecting great things this year.
Last year's team went 8-2, mainly because of quarterback Ben Sizemore, who got the start when Aaron Kincaid went down with an injury. What have you seen in him? What have you noticed that might remind you of yourself, or what do you just notice him as a passer? What do you like about him?
You know, there's so much to like about him. I think the one thing that stands out is what you mentioned, a guy that maybe comes in the season thinking one thing and then gets the opportunity and steps up and delivers, and you know, being prepared and taking advantage of that opportunity, if anything, would remind me of myself in those terms where you know, he was there for his team, and when his number was called, he delivered.
It's been a decade since you last played your last game here for Otterbein. What's the biggest change in the culture you've noticed, or has there been much of one at all?
Yeah, I think it's only grown every year. I think there's that belief now when you go on the football field that you're going to win, and I think that's the biggest change. When I was here, we certainly prepared and felt like we could win games, but we weren't sure, even though we went out and won a few. But now I think those guys have put the time in. They know they have the support of everybody on campus and all the alums, and certainly have the facilities and everything around here to support them as well. So I think they're expecting to win.
We thank Matt D'Orazio for being a part of this Cardinal Nation pregame show. And when we come back, we will be hosting the Otterbein Cardinals as they take on the Capital Crusaders. We'll toss up to David Kinder and Harrison Ralph in the booth. Stay tuned for more.
Still up? Can't sleep? Looking for something to do? Come to a place where the fun never sleeps. Columbus Square Bowling Palace. It's been the premier bowling destination in Central Ohio for 30 years. With 64 lanes of bowling open 24 hours, no matter what time it is. There's always time at the Palace for fun with friends and family. Join the Night Owl regulars at Columbus Square Bowling Palace, where the fun never sleeps.
Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org.
Where do you think you're going?
Is your body holding you back?
I want to go running. Not with that knee, you're not. I'm fine.
Fight for your mobility. Visit anationinmotion.org. A message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
My team depends on me. And my team is 50,000 strong. This is what it feels like to be part of a team. A winning team. The Action Team.
Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
Help support the Breast Cancer Patient Education Act, a bill that will help make sure women facing a mastectomy are told all their options about breast reconstruction. Visit broaddayusa.org for more information.
When doctors told me I would never walk again, somehow I knew I would. Whether you need support in a tragedy or just to make it through a bad day, prayer can make a difference. America, let's come together by believing with each other.
I realized at that moment, these people really needed us. And I was going to make a difference, right here in my community.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Since 1894, these two bitter rivals have squared off on the gridiron for football supremacy.
And it's intercepted by Alex Cameron. Alex Cameron comes away with that.
Separated by only 15 miles, these two are one of the biggest rivals in college football history.
To Rudolph, Sizemore throwing off his back foot. What a catch by Bryson Ray! Oh my goodness!
Today, in the 88th edition of the game, Otterbein will try to extend their winning streak over Capital, while the Crusaders will try to bring bragging rights back to Bexley.
Another long run for Irvin. One man to beat. He's at the 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Drew Irvin.
It's Otterbein in Capital, here on OTV.
Here at Otterbein University, we welcome you here to Rivalry Week at Memorial Stadium as the Otterbein Cardinals and the Capital Crusaders get set to do battle here from Westerville, Ohio. I'm Harrison Ralph, joined by David Kinder, who just finished the first leg of a doubleheader over at the Reich Center covering the Otterbein volleyball game.
Yeah, the Lady Cards got the victory in 5 sets, kind of surprisingly. Expected to be a quick match, but they're able to get it done. A little bit of a heartbreaker, thinking that they might not have time to get over here in football, but we did, and they got the victory. Let's see if Otterbein football can complete the win on a doubleheader here.
Well, Capital now coming out of the locker room, and they get to their sideline, and they look like they're ready to go, and Otterbein just now entering the field as they walk up to the back end zone line, as they always do, and await for their captains to come back, and then they will do their thing and run through the band, and we will get going here on OTV. This is live coverage of Otterbein football. Ben Sizemore, Eric Mitchell, Zach Greaves, and Bryce Frenzel, captains for Otterbein. Capital coming in only 1-6, but David, I have a feeling that they're going to offer a little bit better quality football here, knowing that it's a rivalry game, and knowing that there's a lot of people here supporting them, and just the fact that it's a rivalry game, you know there's a lot of tension.
Well, it might be a cliche, but cliches are true for a reason. And whenever you play your rival, you always are up to the challenge and always play a better game than you're used to. These two teams have been going at it, Harrison, ever since 1894 on the gridiron. They've played consecutively every year since 1927, and it's pretty even. Otterbein 42, 44, and 4, losing that all-time record to Capital. They'll like to try to get closer to evening it up today. But whenever you go out there and play your rival, it's a completely different environment. You can throw the records out the window, and Capital in this one really would like to end that streak. Obviously, Otterbein got the win in Bexley last year, and they would like to come up to Westerville and play spoiler to Otterbein's season and Otterbein's quest to finish the year with a winning record.
Yeah, a brand new coach for Capital. Candido comes in and hasn't had a whole lot of success, but has been able to kind of change the culture, change the momentum, I guess you could say, of the Capital Crusader football program. Dave, what do you see when you look at this Capital football team?
Well, it's a team that, as we talked a lot about in the pregame, they like to run the ball. They're going to go with a trio of running backs, substitute them in and out. They have a very mobile quarterback. And for Otterbein, they're going to have to be able to keep contained. Whenever you go against an option-style team that's going to do a lot of running to the outside, your ends are going to have to be able to keep contained. Your tackles are going to have to crash the middle and create a lot of chaos up there, so they have to bump it to the outside. And if your ends can keep contained on the quarterback, you'll be able to bottle them up and tackle them in the backfield. Otterbein has not had a lot of success against rushing teams this year. Obviously, Cartel Brooks over 300 yards rushing against them. In week 1, Cody Miller had a good game. Daquan Grobesgift of John Carroll University had a huge game against Otterbein. They haven't gone well against premier backs. Now, Capital does not have one premier back, but they have a lot of backs that will run the ball, and Otterbein needs to contain them today if they want to get victory over their longtime foe.
Alex Coleman and Brian Mazzaro will be back for Capital to receive the kickoff. Jordan Boniface will be kicking from the 35-yard line, and we are just about set to begin rivalry weekend here at Otterbein University in Westerville, Ohio. A nice fall temperature, right around 55 or 60, and the kick is off. And not a good start for Otterbein, as it will go out of bounds. And Capital will start with very good field position as the Otterbein defense takes the field.
Yeah, Jordan Boniface replaced Nick Gannis as the kickoff specialist about 3 weeks ago, and the reason Coach Daup gave for that, for having his safety kickoff as well, Boniface can just simply kick it deeper, but as we see there, he kicks it out of bounds, and Capital is going to start this one with tremendous field position.
So the Capital Crusaders and Chase Longwell, the talented freshman, will take the field beginning at their own 35-yard line.
Coming into this one, Otterbein is allowing 174 yards rushing per game, and Capital averaging well over 200 yards rushing per game. So it would be great to see him stop him here on this opening drive and shut down that featured running attack.
Longwell under center from the far hash. And an option play, a toss. Jordan Boniface misses a tackle, and there he goes. Alex Coleman, the senior. Pat Coleman trying to catch him, and he does not. It looks like a touchdown, and it is. And that's what happens when you miss tackles, when you miss plays, and you don't get off of blocks. And, David, this is what we've seen all season long. This is what I talked about in pregame, and this is just not a good start for the Otterbein defense.
You could not ask for a worse start for Otterbein. I just got done talking about making sure you stop that option. Well, they stopped the fullback up the middle. They didn't give to him. They contained the quarterback on the outside, but the pitch man, no one was responsible for the pitch man that time, and he was able to break it and bust it in open field for a long touchdown run. And for the Cardinals, you cannot do that if you want to be victorious today.
Well, Jordan Boniface missed the tackle that I'm sure he'd be the first to say he should have made, but extra point is good, and Capital out to a very quick lead, 7-0. Just 15 seconds off the clock, and Otterbein will start from behind, as they have done a lot this season. You look back to last week against Mount Union in Alliance, Ohio, the second play from scrimmage went for about a 70-yard touchdown. Just a short crossing route and took it all the way, and this game has started out quite similar.
Be huge for the Cardinals if they could get a long return, as Cole Brenner and Stephen Carpenter are out there for the return. The special teams this year for Harrison, or for Otterbein Harrison, has been virtually non-existent in the return game. We haven't seen hardly any long runs out of the Cardinals, and it would be huge if they could get a decent return here and start for Ben Sizemore in very good field position.
Well, the defense is congregating down on the sideline right now, and there could not be a lot of positivity going on down there after that devastating run from the senior Alex Coleman.
Carpenter averaging 18 yards per kick this year.
And it will be Carpenter. Catches it at the 14, across the 20. Finds a hole up to the 35. Makes another move. He's got open room to the 50, to the 45, and he fumbles the football, and it's going to go out of bounds.
Very fortunate for Otterbein that one goes out of bounds there.
That ball looked like it may just stay in bounds there. It looked like you were just hoping. You were just hoping it was going to go out of bounds, and finally it did. But a great return right there from Stephen Carper. Definitely the best of the season for Otterbein. And Ben Sizemore and company will take over at the 33-yard line.
Well, the quarterback position last week, I know we've talked about it a lot. Very rough for Otterbein. Sizemore threw his first interception in over 150 attempts all season. We saw 4 different quarterbacks go beneath center for Otterbein yesterday. Big for Otterbein if Ben Sizemore can step up here and prove that the injury is not going to affect him in this game, and he can put the interception and the poor performance of last week behind him.
We're going to have a stoppage in play here as the referees, and now they're going to respot the football.
Little confusion after that fumble where it went out of bounds.
It's actually, I think, where Carpenter fumbled the ball because you can't advance the ball on a fumble, so that's why I believe they're going to move it back. So first down for Otterbein. Instead of from the 33, they are from the 38-yard line. 3 wide receivers. The far end of the field, Derek Rudolph joins Sizemore in the shotgun. 3 down linemen for Capital. And Sizemore's going to keep it and make his way to the 35-yard line. 3-yard gain brings up a 2nd and 7.
For all the rushing problems Otterbein's had this year, Sizemore comes in this one as the team's second leading rusher behind Drew Irvin, 160 yards on the year and 1 rushing touchdown for the senior quarterback. And that doesn't say much, seeing as how he's a mobile guy, but he's definitely not a run-first type of quarterback. And coming into this one, second on your team in rushing yards, is a harbinger of what kind of offensive rushing year the Cardinals have had.
Well, it's just been so difficult with the inconsistency of the offensive line up front. I mean, it's been hit or miss each week. Never really sure what you're going to get, but that has really stalled this offense, not just in the running game, but in the passing game as well. Sizemore fakes to Irvin, gets it out to Carpenter, has a block up field, picks up a couple, and he'll go out of bounds for a manageable 3rd and 5 coming up for head coach Tim Daup and company.
That's a play Otterbein has had a lot of success so far on the year. Steve Carpenter coming into this one, the team's leading receiver, 34 receptions, 433 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. And that little screen route is a play Otterbein has had a lot of success with. They've been able to pick up a lot of first downs this year with it, and it's their go-to play whenever they need a big chunk of yards. And obviously Coach Daup having a lot of faith in it, calling it here to force this 3rd down and 5.
5 wide receivers on the field for the Cardinals. Carpenter in the slot at the top of your screen. Sizemore under pressure is going to roll out, looking. There's a flag in the vicinity of holding. Sizemore picks up a 1st down, but that will likely be nullified by the penalty. And yes, it will be holding against Otterbein. So that'll set up a 3rd and very long situation for Otterbein coming after the penalty.
Well, the whole year that's been a problem, too, is Ben Sizemore has not had much time to throw the ball. We see there scrambling. In the game against Muskingum a few weeks ago, sacked 6 times, sacked a number of times against Mount Union last week. It's been one of the biggest problems. This young O-line that has 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores on it, has not given Ben much time to throw the ball back there, and it's caused for a lot of sacks on the year.
So 3rd down and 15 now. Again, 5 wide receivers. Carpenter in the slot at the top of the screen. Connor Lucas in the slot toward the bottom of the screen. 4 rushers for Capital. Throw across the middle is completed, and it will be a 1st down. Pickup of about 16 yards there. Nice play by Sizemore. Good job by the offensive line providing some protection, and Sizemore gets the Otterbein a 1st down on 3rd and 15. Well played, well executed play there, Dave.
On the year, Otterbein's not very good at converting 3rd downs. They're coming into this one 30 of 100 on the year for 30%, but Coach Daup dials up a good play there that picks up just the amount of yards they need to move the chains there.
Otterbein football, 1st and 10.
Derek Rudolph and Ben Sizemore in the backfield. Steve Carpenter in motion. The give is to Carpenter. He has Rudolph blocking out in front. Turns it upfield, and it's going to pick up about 6 yards there, down to the 22-yard line. And the Cardinals looking to get Stephen Carpenter involved early.
Yeah, Carpenter is a very versatile guy. They can put him in the slot, split him out, and as you see there, they bring him in motion, and a lot of times they like to run that jet sweep with him, giving him in the handoff, and that's a play Otterbein's had some effectiveness with this year.
I formation now for the Cardinals. You see that a lot with Drew Irvin as the main back. And the give is to Irvin to the left side, following his blocker, and is going to be halted at the 20-yard line. So Otterbein into the red zone here on their opening drive.
Yeah, Drew Irvin has had some trouble ever since he moved from the team's traditional fullback into more of a running back role ever since that Baldwin-Wallace game where he rushed for 230 yards. Oh, coming into this one, 410 yards for the big guy in 74 attempts. As we see, he's going to head over towards the sideline. But he hasn't been the same back ever since that game against BW and has really struggled to run between the tackles, which is what they want him to do out of the backfield.
10.5 minutes left here in the opening quarter. This is Otterbein and Capital from Westerville, Ohio. Sizemore takes a snap out to Carpenter, and he's going to be stopped for a 1-yard loss. That'll bring up a 4th down and a decision for Coach Tim Daup.
Yeah, the kicking unit for the Cardinals this year has been very inconsistent. We've seen Alana Gaither make a pair this year, but from very close, reasonable distances. Nick Gannis is the other longer field goal kicker. He's 0 for 2 this year. He missed a pair at John Carroll, and they haven't turned to him all year, and it looks like Sizemore and company is going to stay on the field and go for it.
Sizemore getting the play from head coach and offensive coordinator Tim Daup. Relays it to his team. They break huddle with 5 wide receivers on 4th down and 4 yards to go. Have to get it to the 17-yard line. Sizemore from the shotgun. Looking to Carpenter in the corner, and he has him for an Otterbein touchdown. In the far corner of the end zone, Steve Carpenter runs a beautiful route and a perfect throw from Ben Sizemore, and the Cardinals put points on the board.
That's the 5th time Ben Sizemore has hooked up with his favorite receiver on the year, and as you mentioned, it was a beautiful route as he's able to go towards the goal line. Then he kind of does a route towards the sideline, splits it out, and he's able to get separation from himself and the cornerback, And Sizemore realizes it and throws a beauty of a pass towards him. 5th time they've hooked up on the air.
Beautiful play for the Cardinals. Gives them 6 points. Alana Gaither coming in looking to make it a tie game, and she does just that. Splits the uprights, and the Otterbein Cardinals have tied the Capital Crusaders here in the opening quarter. 9:39 left to play. So both teams, David, score on their opening drive as Tim Daup congratulates his team as they come back to the sideline.
Yeah, and for Capital, it was what they expected you expected them to do with running the ball, and for Otterbein, it's what you expected them to do, passing the ball. So both teams living up to their standards so far. Hopefully for the defense this time, Otterbein can contain that option play. And as we mentioned, that first play, they had the fullback contained, they had the quarterback. It was the pitch man that they need to have, maybe have a spy linebacker, keep an eye on a pitch man the entire game, because you just can't allow them to have long runs like that if you want to stay in this.
Jordan Boniface was in perfect position. I mean, it's not like they didn't necessarily have it covered, but you just have to make the tackle, and that's what we've seen a lot of this year is poor tackling, missed tackles that lead to big gains for the offense. Speaking of Jordan Boniface, he's on to tee it up for your Otterbein Cardinals. Kick is off, fielded at the 7-yard line. Crosses the 20, crosses the 25, and up to the 30 before he's brought down by a gang of red jerseys. And Capital will come out to run their second play from scrimmage after picking up a touchdown. 65-yard touchdown on their first play from scrimmage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we see out of the quarterback for Capital coming into this one. Not a very effective year, only 400 yards passing, and he's leading the team in that category. 4 passing touchdowns, and 4 interceptions on the year for the young gunslinger. Here's the option again.
And that was close to being a forward pass, but another big chunk of yardage gained. And that's Alex Coleman again on the big run. Otterbein's going to have to find an answer as we see more of the same that we've seen really all season long, David, and that is a lack of run defense.
Yeah, Will Brett finally chased him down that time. And again, they had the quarterback contained. They had him in the backfield, did they long well, but he was able to get it out to the running back on the pitch, and he's able to pick up a first down.
Longwell under center from the Otterbein 47-yard line. A give up the middle is going to pick up about 4. Second and 6 upcoming now for the Crusaders.
You see the defensive line there for the Cardinals, which in my opinion is one of the strongest suits of Otterbein's defense this year, able to close in and force a pile, and that's what they need to do anytime they decide to give it up the middle to the first option.
One wide receiver for Capital. The give is up the middle, and they're going to pick up a first down to the Otterbein 36-yard line.
And you're already seeing a wide variety of backs getting carries. Coming into this one, the Crusaders have 4 backs who have carried the ball over 200 yards on the season. That time, Brent Walton, who of the 4 has the least amount of yards with 240 and run rushing touchdown on the year. Longwell, the leading rusher for the squad, 392 yards and a pair of touchdowns on 120 totes.
2 wide receivers split wide for Capital. And Longwell's going to keep it and is brought down. Nice play there by the linebacker for Otterbein, Will Brett, the freshman, coming up and making the play. Freshman on freshman, these guys are going to see a lot of each other as they continue their careers here at the collegiate level.
Yeah, and Will Brett, one of the 2 Otterbein freshmen, having a standout year. Him and Austin Jones have really stepped up, just being their first year on the team. Both are in the top 3 in tackles on this team, and he was not fooled by the option that time.
2 wide receivers at the top of the screen. And the ball is severely underthrown. It's going to be incomplete. Longwell looking for his receiver, Zach Wyrick, the sophomore.
Yeah, and that's what you can expect out of the passing game for the Crusaders. They come into this one in last place in the OAC in passing yards per game, averaging just a little over 50. And that's more of what you can expect the entire day, is a lot of short balls and a lot of air balls. Not a passing team, is Capital.
3rd down and 8 from the 34-yard line of the Otterbein Cardinals. Capital looking to pick up a 1st down. And it's going to be a toss to Coleman. Has an opening, and a nice tackle there made by the young linebacker for the Otterbein Cardinals, Austin Jones. So a decision time here for Capital, and they're going to go ahead and go for it as Otterbein did on their previous possession. 4th down and about 2 from the 28-yard line. Ball on the near hash.
Converting 37% of the time this year on 4th down are the Crusaders.
And another option play, the toss to the outside, and Austin Jones
looks like
couldn't get the tackle. And Hardy, they're going to go ahead and measure this. Well, nope, they're going to say 1st down, I believe.
It looked like Austin Jones was in really good position to make the tackle, but the back bounced it out a little bit further past him, and from our vantage point, it looks like a clear 1st down from here.
Very close. And they'll go ahead and measure. And they stopped them. No 1st down for the Crusaders, and the Otterbein Cardinals will take over at their own 26.5-yard line. So the Cardinals defense comes up with a huge stop on 4th down and gives the ball back to their offense, looking to take a lead here in the 1st quarter.
That's exactly what you needed if you were Otterbein. They were driving a little bit, had 2 really long runs there after the first touchdown they scored, their very first play of the game. Otterbein's able to stop them as they were close to that red zone, and we'll see what Ben Sizemore can do. Last time out, he threw a beautiful touchdown pass to his senior receiver, Carpenter.
Jeremy McCoy, the very productive sophomore, split wide at the top of the screen. Sizemore fakes to Rudolph. He's going to throw an out here to his wide receiver. Completed for a pickup of about 4 or 5. Joey Beatty making the catch.
It would be really nice to see if Otterbein could get Jeremy McCoy involved in the offense early. We saw in the first few games of the year, Harrison, he had a very huge role as a wide receiver, and in the past few weeks, he's kind of dropped off of the offensive attack. Coming to this one, 2nd leading receiver, 24 receptions, almost 300 yards, 5 yards shy, and a touchdown, but he hasn't been targeted too much recently by Sizemore.
Sizemore now gives to Rudolph, looking for some running room. Can't find much, but squeezes through and picks up a nice chunk of yards up to the 44-yard line. So Derek Rudolph doing a nice job making something out of nothing.
Yeah, he's the little back, and he started the season as the premier back and has kind of been faded out a little bit by Irvin. But what they expect from him are plays like that, a quick, shifty back who can move around a lot and make plays happen.
Irvin now into the game. And the Cardinals will go back to the I formation. The give is to Irvin, and he is met right at the line of scrimmage. And we're going to get a flag. Personal foul. That will go against the Capital linebacker. Dominic Hebebrand is going to make that tackle and will likely be charged for the personal foul. Referee's talking it over. And there it is, personal foul against the Capital Crusaders.
Yeah, and you might be able to chalk that one up to the rivalry. It's no surprise that these two teams don't like each other. Otterbein doesn't like Capital. Capital doesn't like Otterbein. And they definitely want to not only beat each other on the field, but punish each other. And a little too carried away that time as he pushes him down well out of bounds that time, and Otterbein will benefit from the penalty flag.
It was a nice play by Hebebrand, and
yeah,
unfortunately he nullified it by committing the penalty, committing the foul, and Otterbein is now into capital territory for their second consecutive drive. Carpenter in the slot up top. Sizemore fakes to Irvin. Sizemore looking left, and he is going to be sacked. Another sack as Ben Sizemore goes down. Jason Hutchins, the senior defensive end, coming up with the sack, and he'll set up second down and long.
Yeah, I mentioned it again. Sizemore under pressure rather quickly. The tackles can't form a good enough pocket for him to step up in, and he goes down, which has been a familiar theme for Otterbein's offense this year.
Spread offense, 5 wide receivers. Lucas, Frenzel, and Beatty at the top of your screen. Carpenter and McCoy at the bottom. Sizemore looks left, throws left. Connor Lucas is open. He's going to make a move, and right around the first down marker. I'm not sure if he got the first down. He did get the first down, so nice job there. Sizemore finds a wide open Connor Lucas, who's able to advance it upfield and pick up another Otterbein first down.
I know you remember, Harrison, last time we saw Otterbein play here at Memorial Stadium against Heidelberg, there was that drive where it seemed like he was targeted almost every single play was Connor Lucas going down the field.
Yeah.
And he really has emerged as a go-to receiver for Sizemore, someone that he doesn't look to as a third or fourth option, but maybe even the second option to go to, and he has proven he has reliable enough hands to catch almost anything Sizemore throws his way.
4 wide receivers, Rudolph accompanying Sizemore in the backfield. The handoff is to Rudolph, and he is brought down after a gain of a couple. That's Jordan Blair, the freshman, coming up and making the stop for the Crusaders.
That really isn't Derek Rudolph's game to try to run it between the tackles, and I haven't understood all year why they do that. Just a little guy out there, 5'5", 155 pounds is the Eastmore graduate, and whenever they try to run him between the tackles, I never quite understand it. He's more of a back you want to try to get around tackle or get him out towards the sidelines when he's better showing off his speed rather than his strength up the middle.
2nd and 8, 3 minutes left in quarter number 1 here from Memorial Stadium on rivalry week. Sizemore is going to pitch out to Rudolph, and it looks like we're going to get another holding call, most likely against Otterbein. And David, they did just what you said, running Rudolph out to the outside.
Yeah, a little bit more effective that time trying to bounce him out to the outside. He's able to pick up a few yards positive, but it looks like it's all going to be negated by the holding penalty, and penalties this year have really been an Achilles heel for this Otterbein offense. Anytime they have something going, it seemed like they had that problem fixed in the past 2 weeks, but here early in the first quarter, 2 costly penalties have cost Otterbein.
Well, you know what happens when you miss blocks and, you know, you've been inconsistent all season long. You don't want that to happen anymore. And there's 2 things you can do. You can get better, which I know for a fact Otterbein and the offensive line, I know that they're doing everything they can. But then you can also hold. You know,
Yeah.
you could also go the other way. And I think that's what we're seeing a little bit here on this fall Saturday, the first Saturday of November. McCoy is going to haul one into the 34-yard line and is gang tackled after a nice pickup of about 7.
Yeah, first time they have intended McCoy. I mentioned earlier it'd be huge if they could get him involved in the offense. The Merriam Franklin graduate, he is an explosive weapon, and Otterbein moves the ball much more effectively when the ball is in his hands.
8-yard gain to the 33, 3rd down 8.
3rd and 8 now for the Cardinals. Just a few ticks under 2 minutes left to play before we get into the second quarter. 5 wide receivers. Sizemore looking and throws over the middle to McCoy, who catches it right at the 20-yard line, picking up another Otterbein first down. Otterbein doing a great job here early on 3rd down.
that Jeremy McCoy is not really a flashy receiver, but he will catch it when it's thrown his way. He does exactly what he needs to. He knows that there is a linebacker right there waiting to make that tackle on him, but he patiently waits for the ball, watches it in, makes the reception, and does his job, moves the chains. Otterbein with a first down and now inside the red zone of Capital. Last time they were here, it was a touchdown. Sizemore to Carpenter got it done.
Sizemore on his game today, looking very good to start this game, threading the needle on that last 3rd and 8 conversion. And fake to Rudolph. Nice pass out to Drew Irvin. Has one man to beat, can't do it. He does, however, pick up a first down, which will set up a 1st and goal for Otterbein from the 7-yard line of the Capital Crusaders.
Yeah, that's a play we don't see too often. Try to get Drew Irvin involved in the offense as a receiver. Coming into this game, only 2 receptions on the year, but I do like the play. Otterbein comes out in the traditional I formation. Irvin was the middle fullback that time, not the running back. Derek Rudolph, the deep man, something we haven't seen since the early weeks of the season. But Sizemore is able to boot out to the far sideline, and the fullback is able to get past the linebackers and come up with a reception to advance the ball closer down to around the 6-yard line. A very effective play for Otterbein.
Chad McCray, the sophomore tight end, into the game for Otterbein, and Sizemore will turn around and call a timeout. So we take a break in the action. 25 seconds left in the first quarter. Otterbein tied with the Capital Crusaders 7-7. We want to remind you that the OAC Volleyball Tournament quarterfinals will be here on OTV on November 5th at 7 p.m. live here from the Reich Center.
Yeah, myself and John Bazika will have the call on that. Otterbein still doesn't know who they're going to play in the tournament. It's still up for debate if they will be the 3 seed or the 4 seed, but regardless, they will be the home team. It looks like they'll either be playing Capital again or the John Carroll Blue Streaks. So if you can't make it out to the Reich Center to watch the Lady Cards compete for back-to-back OAC Tournament Championships, of course, they won it last year over Mount Union. You can watch it streaming live on OTV. Should be a very exciting match as they try to make their goal of back-to-back appearances in the NCAA tournament, 4 in a row for a very effective senior class. It was senior day over at the Reich today. And for 4 young ladies, they concluded their career at the Reich in the regular season anyway with a victory over hated Capital.
It's a strong word, David.
Hated? I think it's an accurate with a lot of the emotions I've seen around campus this week leading up to the rival with the team from Bexley.
A lot of fun was had this week also on Twitter, in the Twitter spheres. The give is to Irvin, who is stopped after little to no gain on 1st and goal.
Harrison, what would you know about putting things on Twitter?
I do tweet often. Follow me at Harrison Ralph if you'd like to.
It's always worth a good. It's always worth a good read.
Right. That's
You're
what
always going to enjoy reading a Harrison Ralph tweet.
As quarter number 1 comes to an end, we will go ahead and take a break. We'll step aside here on Otterbein TV. 2nd and goal for the Otterbein Cardinals when we come back.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the 2nd most common cancer in teens and young adults 15 to 29. And 1 person dies from melanoma every hour. It's time. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Back to Memorial Stadium on rivalry weekend with the Otterbein Cardinals playing host to the Capital Crusaders. This is Otterbein TV live football here presented by the Columbus Square Bowling Palace. We certainly appreciate their support as Otterbein will head back onto the field as they have a 2nd and goal opportunity awaiting them. And a flag now before the play. I think too many guys on the field maybe for, yes, illegal substitution on the Capital Crusaders. And that'll move the football up to the 3-yard line.
Watch out for the give up the middle to Drew Irvin. He is a wrecking ball when he has the football, just lowers his shoulder pads, keeps his leg churning. So watch to the give for him.
Nice little Miley Cyrus reference there, David. I know you're big into her music.
I don't think I am.
We'll talk about that later here after this 2nd and goal, and almost caught. Would have been a tremendous catch there. That was the backup tight end for the Otterbein Cardinals.
Chad McCray.
The sophomore, yes, Chad McCray.
Well, speaking of tight ends, we saw an amazing catch last time here. Otterbein was at Memorial Stadium out of Bryson Ray. His first career touchdown, an unbelievable one-handed grab, and it was very ironic because we had just got done talking about how Otterbein doesn't really use the tight end in their offense too much, and he proves us all wrong with that unbelievable one-handed grab, and it was in this end zone, the north end zone, that he scored a touchdown against the Berg.
3rd and goal, Otterbein looking to punch it in here and take a touchdown lead over rival Capital. Sizemore rolling to the left, squares his shoulders, throws to Carpenter. Would have been a touchdown, but the play was blown dead. And we'll have full start against the Otterbein Cardinals to nullify what looked like a touchdown pass again from Sizemore to Carpenter, but the Cardinals will back up, and we will replay 3rd and goal.
Yeah, I couldn't tell which lineman it was that jumped, if it was a lineman, but those are plays that you just cannot have. Shooting yourself in the foot, 3 costly penalties for Otterbein here in the first half of this one, and obviously that one took away what would have been a touchdown for Otterbein had it stood.
So 3rd and goal, ball now at the 9-yard line, so a 3rd and 9 here, 3rd and goal.
Watch
5 wide receivers, McCoy, Carpenter at the top. Lucas, Frenzel, and Beatty at the bottom of the screen. Sizemore under pressure, and the offensive line again giving up a big sack. And now you're going to have a 4th and goal from the 19. I don't know if you can really go for it here.
Yeah, Sizemore was looking for Carpenter, who was the slot receiver to the top of the screen. It looks like they're going to come out for the field goal attempts. Carpenter was running parallel to the goal line, and he just could not get separated from the cornerback, and Sizemore held on to it too long and went down.
A strong rush from the Capital Crusader front 7 was able to penetrate their way through and get to the quarterback, Ben Sizemore. So Nick Gannis will come on.
He's missed from 35 and 43 this year.
And that is not going to make it. Wide right, and Capital will take over. So from a 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line, we go to a missed field goal from, it was actually a 30-yard field goal.
Yeah, special teams have really been a problem for the Cardinals this year. We saw 2 punts were blocked last week against Mount Union. They have missed 3 field goals now and only 5 attempts all year. We've seen some trouble out of the holder on point after touchdown attempts. It's been a really dismal year as far as special teams go for the Cardinals.
And that obviously is a possession there where we could easily look back and say that's a huge turning point in this football game. The toss, nice play. Jordan Boniface coming up from his safety position, making a nice tackle in the backfield for a loss on 1st down. But, David, 3rd and goal on the 3-yard line, and you end up attempting and missing a 30-yard field goal.
Well,
that is just not efficient. That is not good football from the Cardinals.
A lot of people would say with a running back like Irvin in the game, give it to him up the middle, but we've seen the way Otterbein's rushing attack has been, and I say the pass was the right call in that situation. However, you have to get it off quicker if you're Sizemore, and if you're the line, you have to protect longer than what you gave him.
2nd down and about 15 here. The toss outside to Coleman. He's got another huge hole, and he is gashing this Otterbein defense, still on his feet, and gets up to the 44-yard line. Alex Coleman running right through this Otterbein defense and has picked up yet again another big chunk for the Capital Crusaders. Gets them out to the 44-yard line.
Well,
and we'll have a referee timeout here.
It was Alex Cameron that made the tackle upending him, but again we saw it was Boniface who was in position to make that tackle there, and he just couldn't get to him that time, and it allowed for another long run in Capital as we have the Zebras on the field discussing things there. Again in position to make the tackle just like on the first long touchdown run from Coleman. However, he couldn't get it done just moments after making a play in the backfield where he tackled him for a loss.
Well, and it looks like we have maybe an injured official as the Otterbein training staff consults the side judge, the line judge, excuse me. I don't know if he rolled an ankle or what, but so with this pause in action, David, tell us what you saw today from the Otterbein volleyball team, who got a big win over Capital over in the Reich Center just a few hours ago.
Well, Otterbein's winning streak over Capital on the hardwood and volleyball continued. Capital has not defeated the Lady Cardinals since 2008 in volleyball, Harrison. However, their streak of 8 consecutive shutouts against the Crusaders did come to an end. Tabitha Piper, congratulations to her, recorded 40 assists in the game. She set the school's all-time record for career assists, a record that stood for over a decade, and she only needed 15 going into it, got over 40. She was able to set that record. Annie Junger led the way in kills, and after starting out pretty slowly, it was a back-and-forth match. They finally got the win, their 25th victory of the season. And as we mentioned, you can watch live on OTV on Tuesday as whoever they will be taking on in the OAC tournament, they will try to pick up the victory and advance even more in the tournament. And taking a look at some of the scores from around the Ohio Athletic Conference, Ohio Northern is up 14-0 over Muskingum. John Carroll also up 14-0 in Wilmington, Ohio, and the much-awaited game in Tiffin, Ohio. Mount Union is up over Heidelberg 17-7. Just the start of the second quarter in that one. A battle of two undefeated teams ranked in the top 10 of the Division III polls, Harrison, and a game that will go down to the wire to decide who will be the OAC champions. No team has won the conference outright since 1991 except for the Purple Raiders, Harrison.
Yeah, quite a streak. Now you can say the Karras family has had there in Alliance, Ohio, as the son of Larry Karras. Vincent Karras has taken over the Purple Raider team and has not missed a beat as that program continues to be at the top each and every year. So an official on the bench being tended to by the head trainer on the Otterbein sideline, and we will resume play down one official. 1st and 10, and a deep pass down the field. Open receiver off the fingertips. That ball should have been caught, but falls harmlessly to the ground. Incomplete. Otterbein catches a break right there.
Yeah, and when you have a team that's so poor at passing the ball as Capital is, those are plays you have to take advantage of anytime. That was a perfectly thrown pass out of Chase Longwell that time and right in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. Those are plays you have to take advantage of when you're a team that does not throw the ball extremely effectively.
It was Bo Hardy, the intended receiver, on the play. Longwell hands up the middle for, well, actually picked up about 4 yards, 5 yards on the carry up the middle. Brent Walton, just a freshman, getting a lot of playing time for the Capital Crusaders here in 2013.
Now this starting offense riddled with freshmen for the Crusaders, a young team, much like Otterbein. They start 2 freshmen on the offensive line. Of course, Chase Longwell, a freshman himself, and so is the ball carrier you just mentioned in Walton.
From the 48-yard line, Longwell looking to throw and airmails that one. You can put a stamp on that and FedEx it. Longwell a little too excited there, found an open receiver, but sailed it over the head of his intended receiver. It'll bring up a 4th and long, and Capital will be forced to punt. Connor Lucas back to receive for the Cardinals.
4th and 6 at the 48.
On the year, Riley is averaging 36 yards a boot.
Nice punt right here. Sends Lucas back, and he's going to let it go. Bounces into the end zone for a touchback, and Otterbein will begin from the 20-yard line. So Ben Sizemore will come out and see if he can lead his team down the field again after two very efficient drives. Last drive, however, stalled after a 3rd and goal at the 3-yard line. Became a 3rd and 9, 3rd and goal from the 9 after a false start penalty, and then after a sack, turned into a 30-yard field goal attempt, which was missed by Nick Gannis.
Now, this is the longest field position Otterbein has started with all day. It'll be interesting to see what kind of offensive tactics they use to move the ball here.
Tyler Hammond gets the carry, bounces it outside, trying to turn the corner and cannot do so. Picks up a couple on the outside run.
One of the 4 running backs that sees significant playing time in the backfield for the Cardinals, referred to as Speedy by a lot of his teammates because he is the quickest among the running backs, but you see he's best going north and south, not east and west, as he tries to bump it to the sidelines, but only can pick up a yard that time.
Frenzel, the senior, accompanies Sizemore into the huddle for Otterbein from the 22-yard line. 2nd and 8. Capital bringing 4 on the rush. Deep pass down to Carpenter. He has a man. He's open. Makes a move. Looks for another move, and he makes it. Frenzel and another blocker in front of him. Carpenter, stutter step at the 25, and a big pickup right there for the Otterbein Cardinals. Sensational job, Ben Sizemore finding Steve Carpenter, who picks up a nice chunk of yards after the catch. First down, Otterbein and deep in Capital territory.
You see what the duo can do there with a little bit of time for Sizemore to throw. The offensive line gives him a good pocket. He steps up and he finds his intended man way down the field wide open. He's able to look it in for a good reception as he checks out of the game right there, and he's able to advance it all the way down to the 24-yard line, and Otterbein has it moving now.
Nice play against the zone defense. Carpenter finds the seam, and Sizemore finds Carpenter now. Pass out to Hammond on the far side, turns it upfield, and picks up about 6 yards into the red zone. The Cardinals, for the 3rd consecutive drive, march the football into the red zone of the Capital Crusaders.
You know, the screen hasn't been a play that Otterbein's busted for long runs this year, but it is a play that they can go to when they need 5 or 6 yards to pick up and try to get it more a reasonable 2nd down, as they have now. 2nd down and 5, a very reasonable play here to convert.
Jeremy McCoy at the top of your screen. Hammond in motion in the backfield. Another screen, this time to the near side, and Hammond will fight for yardage. Picked up about 3. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2, or 3rd down and 3, excuse me, from the 16-yard line. So 3rd and short for Otterbein. They've done a great job on 3rd down thus far today. Hammond again in motion, and they're going to run this same play. Tyler Hammond, though, this time has an open receiver. Incomplete pass. Little too much air under that pass from Hammond. And the defensive back, who was initially fooled on the play, was able to get there and knock that pass away. Incomplete pass. Nice play design. And they set it up, David, by running that that play looked like at first. 2 times in a row, it looked like they were going to do it a 3rd time. Instead, Hammond looks for an open receiver downfield, can't quite get him.
And it wasn't a bad pass out of him. A pretty decent pass, too, maybe a little bit late, but a fine pass, but unable to catch it in the end zone. But I really like setting it up with the screen before and then trying to confuse him by running it again.
So 4th down and 2 for the Cardinals. Sizemore standing tall in the pocket, and They're going to call that an incomplete pass. It looked like Sizemore was trying to pump fake and lost control of the ball. They're going to call it incomplete. Either way, the Capital Crusaders will take over. That's 3 trips to the red zone for the Cardinals and only 7 points out of those 3 red zone possessions. Not what you want to see if you're Tim Daup and the Otterbein Cardinals.
No, definitely not. Otterbein proving ineffective so far in the red zone. Just 1 of 3 on scoring points in the red zone after they missed that field goal last time. And again, the pocket collapse on Sizemore. Not much time to do anything with the ball at that time.
They've been good on 3rd down. They've been good in between the 20s, but once they've gotten in the red zone, they've really struggled. Zach Greaves blowing that play up in the backfield as he brings down Chase Longwell for a big loss on 1st down. Zach Greaves disrupting that play in the backfield. Nice job by number 5.
Yeah, coming into this one, Greaves 4 tackle for losses on the season for 14 yards and 37 tackles, leading the defensive line in that category.
Second and about 13 now for the Crusaders. The pitch is over to Cameron. Again, a big hole on that side and picks up a 1st down. That play, David, has worked every single time. Tossing it out to Cameron on the quarterback option.
Yeah, and the skill players for the Crusaders who aren't getting the ball or aren't involved in the option are doing a tremendous job of blocking downfield. That time, Nolan Gill, the junior number 5 running back, makes a tremendous block on Alex Cameron so he can make some space for his back to move with the ball. They're doing a great job of getting low and taking out the legs of the Otterbein players to give their back some room to run.
Walton was the back on that play, and Longwell keeps it, picks up 2 on 1st down, 2nd down, and 8 from the 32-yard line.
4 yards to the 33, 2nd down, 6.
Longwell under center. Freshman Walton in the backfield. And the pitch goes outside. There is a flag right around the line of scrimmage. A big gain there for Capital, but I would imagine it will come back. As Zach Reeves seems to be claiming he was held. Oh, we're going to get a chop block.
Chop block, the call against Capital.
So a chop block against Capital, and that'll march them back. Nice chunk of yards. So this is going to set up a very long down and distance here for the Capital Crusaders. 22 yards to go for a 1st down. As the Capital Crusaders break huddle. That's Jake Brakey in motion. The toss is to Brakey, and he's going to cross the 30-yard line.
Jake Brakey on the carry.
Pick up a nice chunk, but on 2nd and 22, got a long way to go. It sets up a 3rd, and let's see, a 3rd and about 8.
Chase Longwell from the quarterback position is doing a tremendous job of running the option, and he should. A Hilliard-Davidson graduate. We played against them a lot in high school, and they were a member of our conference. And this is the exact same offense that he ran in high school. This triple option here, he's doing a fantastic job of waiting till the last possible moment to get rid of the pitch so you don't know who has the ball.
You see Steve Carpenter there on the sideline for the Cardinals. Has had a great game on the offensive side of the ball for the Cardinals. This is a live ball, fumble, and it looked like Otterbein recovered.
They did.
And they have. The official word is Otterbein football. They will take over at the 24-yard line on the miscue there between Longwell and his running back. Capital turns it over. Otterbein takes over just outside the red zone. And they have a golden opportunity here as they take over deep in Capital territory.
Well, as soon as I give praise to Chase Longwell, he proves me wrong. That time, a very poor pitch from him. He waited a little too long to make the pitch that time, throws it behind his running back. Otterbein does a great job of pouncing on that ball, and as you said, a golden opportunity to score here and take the lead.
I formation, Drew Irvin. The back, McCoy at the top of the screen. Carpenter in the slot. Fake to Irvin. Sizemore, end zone, touchdown. Stephen Carpenter, play action fake, work to perfection. Carpenter gets open in the end zone, and Sizemore delivers a strike. 13-7, Cardinals take the lead.
Yeah, that's number 6 on the year on the senior-to-senior duo. A great job that time. Just a simple post route towards the end zone, and Carpenter's been wide open on that play all day long, and it is their second hookup of the game. Otterbein takes the lead. Now Alana Gatherson out there. She is 7 of 11 on extra point tries this year.
Alana Gaither in for the point after, and it is no good as she kicks it wide right. And another miscue for the Cardinals, but you see Ben Sizemore there now with 2 touchdown passes on the day, both to his senior wide receiver, Stephen Carpenter.
Yeah, Carpenter has been his go-to guy all year. There's never been a question about that. Coming into the year after the loss of Trey Fairchild to graduation, we knew that it would be Carpenter. And to an extent, last year, Carpenter was his go-to guy as well, and he has definitely lived up to his expectation. I imagine Carpenter will be on several All-OAC teams when this year is finally over.
Well, and you see that so often when a team turns the ball over, the team that gets the turnover comes back out and they go right for the big play. You know, that's force a turnover and then come out and you try to build off that momentum, and Otterbein has certainly done that. But David, again, you do something, you know, you take a step forward and then you miss the extra point, take a step back. It's kind of one of those things that's happened a lot this year for Otterbein. You get a positive play, a positive series, but then there always seems to be a yeah, but, you know, they got a touchdown after the turnover, but they missed the extra point. And hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt the Cardinals later in this ball game. And the return man runs into his own guy, but now finds an opening and is pushed out by Boniface after a nice return to the 40-yard line. So Capital needs to go 60 yards to tie this thing up at 13 here with 6 minutes and 17 seconds left in half number 1.
A big defensive drive here for the Cardinals. If they can stop them and try to put another touchdown on the board before they head into halftime, that'd be huge to have a 2-possession lead. Last time, obviously, Longwell running the option on the pitch, fumbled it, and Otterbein was able to recover. Let's see if they turn away from the option a little bit and try to pass the ball.
Longwell gives to Walton up the middle, has a big hole, and is tripped up after picking up a first down for the Capital Crusaders. That is Zach Diosi on the tackle for Otterbein.
Yeah, he had a huge game last year against Capital with his 94-yard interception return for a touchdown that led to the Cards' victory over Capital in Bexley last year. A tremendous return last year.
And the give again up the middle is to Walton, who is dragged down by multiple Cardinals. Not before picking up 6 yards. They'll set up a second down and about 4 yards to go. Three down lineman for the Cardinals. The pitch is to Alex Coleman, and he picks up another big chunk of yards. That play to Coleman, that toss to Coleman to the wide side of the field has not failed yet.
No, it goes back to the point I was saying. Otterbein not always out of position, but The the skill players for Capital who don't get the ball are doing a tremendous job of getting on their blocks and taking out the legs of the Cardinals so they can spring for long runs.
And we're going to have a pass here over to Coleman on the quick out, and is gang tackled. Wes McKeever, the initial Cardinal, in on the stop. Ball is placed at the 29-yard line.
Harrison, Capital already closing in on the 200-yard rushing mark in this game. 188 rushing yards, 0 passing yards for the visitors from Bexley. So they've made it clear what their goal is today. 0 of 3 passing today, but 188 rushing yards.
Well, and I don't think it has surprised anyone. I mean, nice play there by Zach Greaves, bringing Walton down after a minimal gain. But it's not surprising. I mean, we knew coming into this game, we talked about it in the pregame show, Capital wanted to run the football. When they came into Memorial Stadium, they said, we're going to run the football, we're coming at them, and we're going to see if they can stop it. They haven't been able to stop it yet. Otterbein's been fortunate, recovering a fumble, and have benefited from some Capital penalties, most recently a chop block, but they do need to find an answer for this running game of Capital. Again, Coleman on the toss, and he's going to come up about a yard short. It's going to be 4th and 1 for Capital, and we'll see what Coach Candetto does. The 2004 graduate of Navy, the alma mater for the first-year head coach of the Capital Crusaders.
Well, I wonder where he got his style of offense from then, Harrison. Not much of a surprise there. Navy runs the exact same offense, this triple option that Capital has displayed today.
And they have for a number of years, too. A false start against Capital, another costly penalty, and Capital really making it difficult for themselves. Oh, we're going to get... Oh, well... You're gonna get encroachment on. I don't know if that was the right signal there. that's generally the hands on the hips.
As long as the ball's moving backwards, I think we'll be happy.
Oh, now we're gonna have a personal foul. We're gonna have an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the coaching staff of Capital, who is out on the field screaming their lungs out after that last call. Unbelievable. Wow.
So
Capital is just falling apart at the seams right now. You see Coach Candetto right over there with the headset off. He is wearing the white visor, and he's still pleading his case. Wow. And that's difficult.
Talk about a change of field position for them. It goes from 4th down and 1 was going to be 4th and well over 20 yards to convert now.
Wow.
And he's still jawing with the officials.
I mean, this is, and this is the thing, okay? With football teams like this, when you have a team that's 1-6, and your team is out there committing penalties, on a 4th and 1, they jump off sides, make it 4th and 6. It's difficult to tell your players, hey, don't make penalties. We gotta cut the penalties, and then get an unsportsmanlike, yourself as a coach. I mean, that's a tough spot and a very difficult place to be as a head coach, I would imagine. Costing your team 15 yards and taking you out of scoring position. Coach Candetto.
It's a little bit of hypocrisy on his place to go and tell your players, hey, be smart, don't commit these penalties, and then you go out there and do it yourself, and all you have to do is stop talking to the official. And I'm not so sure what he was so upset about, because it looked like it was a clear-cut jump off sides by Capital. Maybe he was upset by the wrong hand signal. I'm not sure.
He's still yelling over there from the sideline. Finally, he puts his headset back on, but wow. What a series of events there. Otterbein, the clear beneficiary over the last 5 minutes, as Capital lost a little bit of self-control there. Sizemore looking deep, under pressure, and it's going to be sacked. A flag in the backfield. It's going to be holding against the Cardinals. That will be
third time that's been called so far today.
That will be declined. So a 2nd and long coming up for the Otterbein Cardinals.
Well, Sizemore was looking for Carpenter, and can you blame him? Because Carpenter has 5 receptions, 100 yards even, and 2 touchdowns so far in this game. Sizemore has played very effective, 12 of 14 passing, 173 yards, and of course the long of 54 that went to Carpenter.
Capital takes a timeout, and not sure if this is Candeto's way of maybe buying some more time to talk to the refs over there. I'm not sure, but
maybe he just needs a little bit of time to cool off after he just went off on the entire officiating staff.
We want to remind you that a week from today, next Saturday on November 9th, you can catch more Otterbein football live from Memorial Stadium here on Otterbein TV. As usual, it will be presented by the Columbus Square Bowling Palace.
Myself and Josh Overholzer, they're calling that one, as he will switch to enemy territory and move from the radio booth to the TV booth and call his first game in a long time on TV. And Otterbein will try to get the win over the Pioneers and continue their quest to finish with a winning season in back-to-back years. Still very much a goal. They'll go to Ada, Ohio the following week and close out the regular season with the Polar Bears of Ohio Northern. But, of course, have to deal with the task at hand now, and that is defeating your longtime rival in the Capital Crusaders.
2nd and 15, Otterbein at the 15.
2nd and very long, 15 to be exact, for the Cardinals. The handoff is to Rudolph, who crosses the 20 and then is brought down by Jordan Blair, the linebacker.
Tackled by Jordan Blair.
And it looks like
another timeout here for Capital. This is odd, to say the least. Well, there's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, so they're trying to get the ball back here before half. Try to put another score on the board.
Score updates from around the OAC. Mount Union has increased their lead over undefeated Heidelberg. They now are up 30-13 in that game. John Carroll has jumped out over Wilmington 28-0. John Carroll still has only allowed 2 touchdowns all year. An incredible effort by them this season. Ohio Northern is up over the Muskies 21-0 down in New Concord, Ohio. And the other game going on right now in Ohio athletic play is Baldwin Wallace is up by a touchdown over Marietta. That game in Marietta, only 30 seconds before halftime there. So the game in Tiffin, Ohio, maybe not as close as a lot of people thought it would be, as Mount Union's 17-point lead in the battle of undefeateds. John Carroll, though, Harrison, also moving highly in the rankings. They have only surrendered 2 touchdowns all year. An incredible season out of them, and they will, too, have to meet with Mount Union next week, and that, too, should be an interesting game. That will be the last 2 undefeated teams should Mount Union survive today.
5 wide receivers for the Cardinals on 3rd and long. Sizemore rolling out to the right. He wants to stay in bounds, and does. He picks up a first down, tiptoeing down the sideline. Capital. A really poor job
flag on the play,
over
though.
there. We will have a flag on the play. Will likely come back. And it will be a foul against the Otterbein Cardinals, bringing the football back. It's a nice run by Sizemore, tiptoeing down the far sideline. But that run was aided by a hold, which will bring the ball back, and create a 3rd and about 19. One minute and 58 seconds remaining in quarter number 2. As we approach halftime, Capital has used 2 of their timeouts here on defense. And again, Otterbein, 5 wide receivers. They could run the ball and force Capital to use their final timeout. Instead, it looks like they have all intention of throwing the ball. And over the middle and incomplete, thrown behind Connor Lucas, and that's the risk you run there, throwing the football on third and very long, deep in your own territory. Capital will certainly come out and have wonderful field position as they try to punch one in just before halftime.
And this will be the first time Otterbein has punted all day. Jordan Keaton back there, and the punting position has been a revolving door this year. We've seen 3 different guys asked to punt, and obviously it was a huge deal last week when 2 punts were blocked up in Alliance, Ohio, 1 for a touchdown. So hopefully the Bulls can hold this time.
Yeah, Mount Union was able to get great penetration and block a couple punts last week. Capital cannot do the same, and they're going to let this one roll out of bounds right at looked like about the 48-yard line. That's where Capital will take over already in Otterbein territory as they try to tie this thing up, possibly take the lead just before half.
As we mentioned, Ben with the offensive attack for the Crusaders, nearing that 200-yard clip, 188 yards rushing on the ground, 0 passing yards. They have still yet to complete a pass, Harrison, but they're showing with their offensive attack that they don't really need to.
No, I think pitch to Alex Coleman has worked to perfection. No need to change it. And Longwell, really no options back there. It's called the triple option, but I didn't see many options there for Longwell. And Capital will burn its final timeout, stopping the clock at 78 seconds.
Well, as I said, it's no surprise that the triple option is the type of offense they run, given where their coaches come from, and even their quarterback, who hails from Hilliard-Davidson High School, state champions 2 out of the past 5 years in that notorious triple option attack. And it's obvious that Longwell has been groomed for this position for a long time, running it for 4 years, just a freshman now getting the starting job. He has run it extremely effectively on the day, and his lead ball carrier so far, Alex Coleman, 6 carries, 148 yards, of course, majority of them coming on that 65-yard touchdown run that came on the very first play of the game.
Well, it's actually less than 50% of the yards came on that run. I mean, we look at that run and say, that was a big chunk of yards. It was, but you take that away and he's still, right around 100 yards. So pass play there, and Longwell again puts too much air under it, and it falls incomplete. It's going to set up a 3rd down and 10 for the freshman signal caller. Shotgun formation, the first time we have seen this style of offense from the Crusaders. Longwell is going to throw short to his receiver, who actually had some room to run, but
a lot of room.
Takes it out of bounds. That is Jordan Beatty,
That was Bo Hardy that caught the pass with about 5 more yards to go. That's the first completion we've seen of the day out of Longwell getting it to his running back.
Yeah, Bo Hardy was the receiver, as David said. So Connor Lucas will go back, and I seriously doubt he'll have an opportunity for any kind of return here, as I'm sure Capital will kick it away from Lucas to avoid a potential return. And that is a bad punt. I mean, there's not a whole lot.
Harrison.
There's not a whole lot.
Well, that's
else you can say. That is a horrendous punt right there.
That was Riley's 3rd punt of the game, and his first 2 went well over 50 yards. The first one was 52, the second one 56, and both went into the end zone for touchbacks. But that one there,
8 yards.
There's no sugarcoating it there.
8 yards,
It
David.
barely got past the line of scrimmage.
Wow, I am not. And all of a sudden now, Otterbein has an opportunity to go down the field with 1 minute and 3 seconds left on the clock, and I think 2 timeouts.
Two timeouts,
timeouts, yeah. So Otterbein definitely has a chance to tack on to their 6-point lead before we go into half, and Otterbein will receive to start the second half. So Otterbein could get a little bit of a cushion here until by the time their defense comes back on the field. Sizemore drops back, looks over the middle, finds Connor Lucas, and they will not call a timeout. They will hurry up to the ball. They're going to hang on to those 2 timeouts. 2nd down and 5 for Otterbein. Sizemore drops back, looks over the middle again, throws to Carpenter. First down clock will stop to reset the chains. Otterbein in cruise control right now, heading towards the goal line. And Sizemore will spike it, and it looks like he rolled his ankle there.
Not good. The ankle has been a huge problem for Sizemore. He injured it against Heidelberg, re-aggravated it last week against Mount Union. Brick Davis had to come and replace him. So, especially on a spike play like that, you definitely don't want to see your starting quarterback coming away limping on a play that should be no more simple than throwing the ball to the ground. And now some confusion as there will be a timeout on the field, it appears. Players discussing things
well,
with the officials.
They just spiked the ball. Why would they call timeout?
I think official timeout is what it...
Going to reset the game clock. 37 seconds left for Otterbein to try to pick up some late points here in the first half. 5 wide receivers. Carpenter in the slot at the top of your screen. McCoy all the way to the top. Lucas in the slot on the near side. Sizemore to Carpenter, running a crossing route, is wide open. Needed to pick up a first down. Daup is going to call a timeout. Would have been nice if Carpenter could have turned that upfield and picked up a first down. But fortunately for the Cardinals, they do have 2 timeouts. And they use one of those here to stop the clock. And
well, tunnel vision has been a problem for Ben Sizemore recently, and obviously you want to go to Carpenter anytime you can, and he was open, but that was the only receiver he looked at that time. If he had looked a little to his left, a little more downfield, he would have saw that Connor Lucas was wide open near the 20-yard line and sprinting towards that end zone. So obviously he's keying in on his favorite receiver, that's never a bad option because he's a tremendous talent, but his number 2 guy, Connor Lucas, was wide open and going towards the end zone if he had saw him a little sooner.
Capital playing a very, very soft zone on that last play. Every defender, with the exception of the defensive line, their entire defense was 15 yards down the field at least. So that is why Carpenter was so open across the middle. And you see Tim Daup getting back to the sideline after sending the play in to Ben Sizemore. 3rd and 1 from the 36-yard line. Lucas and Carpenter, your slot receivers. Sizemore drops back, looks, pressured, throws, and he has Jeremy McCoy who gets out of bounds. Nice play. Ben Sizemore extending the play and finds Jeremy McCoy, who makes his 2nd catch of the game and picks up a first down for Otterbein, also gets out of bounds. So Otterbein hangs on to that last timeout. And they now have the ball just inside the 25-yard line. 1st and 10, 1 timeout to go. 22 seconds before the teams hit the locker rooms. Again, 5 wide receivers. Sizemore looks, and he's going to be sacked. And Tim Daup is going to run onto the field, call a timeout. So Otterbein now out of timeouts. Clock down to 15 seconds.
A little bit of deja vu to that last game we saw here at Memorial Stadium.
I was just going to mention that, David.
Against Heidelberg, where a similar situation. Otterbein was close to the goal line. Sizemore back to pass, and he gets sacked. The only difference is there. Sizemore had burned all 3 timeouts leading up to that play. When he tried to audible, didn't like it, couldn't get it off, so he called the timeout. Thankfully, Otterbein has that 1 timeout here because last time they tried to run the field goal unit out, and time expired before they could get the kickoff. So good thing they conserve their timeouts a little bit better here. But if you're Sizemore on this 2nd down, you can't take a sack because then the half will end. You got to either throw it away or do whatever you can, but you cannot take a sack if you're Sizemore here.
Well, improvement is oftentimes learning from mistakes, trial and error. So we'll see if Sizemore can make sure he doesn't take a sack here. I'm sure Coach Daup made note of that there during that timeout as he sends his quarterback back out. 5 wide receivers again. Carpenter and McCoy to the left of Sizemore. Lucas, Frenzel, and Beatty to the right. Sizemore stepping up, going downfield. Bryce Frenzel can't come up with the catch. Nice play there as the defensive back closed in very quickly on Bryce Frenzel, was able to knock the ball away. And that was Drew Young, a freshman for the Crusaders, coming up making a touchdown-saving play.
You don't, on this play here, if you're Otterbein, you don't have to throw it towards the end zone here. You still have time. You can throw it towards the sideline. You just need to make sure you get out of bounds on 3rd down here, or you can pick up the first down and spike it. You don't have to go to the end zone, but it looks like they're gonna line up for the field goal here.
Well, there's going to be delay of game. Well, they got it off, but the kick is far too short and way off to the right. That was a really poor job. Nick Gannis couldn't get on the field. Nick Gannis didn't get on the field until there were 4 seconds left on the play clock. Inexcusable. The whole field goal unit was on the field. Gannis.
Well, Harrison, there's still 9 seconds left. You have time to run another play in that situation. You can either throw it past the first down stick, so if you catch it, it's a first down, the clock stops, and you can spike it, or you can throw less than first down as long as you're near the sidelines and get out of bounds. You don't even have to throw it towards the end zone. There's still 5 seconds after that debacle. You had plenty of time to run another play.
That was a very poorly managed end to that drive, and that is very disappointing. Otterbein has left a lot of points out on the field. However, they do lead here at halftime, 13-7. Otterbein, several other opportunities to score. Just 1 of 3 inside the red zone. And that was their opening drive. But they've had 2 red zone possessions since then, and have not been able to cash in for any points. 2 missed field goals from Nick Gannis, both wide right. And Otterbein leads by just 1 possession. 13-7 is your score here at the half. We're going to try to get an interview here with Coach Daup as he exits the field here with the team. Jordan Brown on the sideline. And we'll try to get Coach Daup here. But, yeah, David, that was a shocking couple plays there.
I just don't get the call for not trying another play. There's almost 10 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time to run another play.
Hopefully Jordan can, ask him that. We'll see. She has Coach Daup now, and we will send it down to Jordan Brown with head coach Tim Daup.
Coach, you're up 13-7, but missed 2 field goals and extra point. How crucial is that?
Well, it's huge in a game like this, as tight as it is. I mean, we give up, a big play on the first down or the first play of the game. We settled down, come back. I mean, we've had touchdowns called back. We've missed field goals. I mean, in my opinion, we should be up at least 28 right now.
Alex Coleman in the running game is really strong right now. What's the game plan for the second half?
Well, we're going to have to adjust and get somebody on the pitch. That's what's hurting us right now is they're just faking the dive and pitch, and we got to get somebody on the pitch.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Jordan. Great job from the sideline, and you heard it there. Tim Daup really echoing what we've been saying is they left a lot of points out there. He said in his opinion they could easily be up 28-7. Instead, they're up 13-7, just a slim 6-point lead after really Otterbein did a great job really throughout the first half of moving the football. Just a couple drives stalled out at the end, and that was an ugly end in the first half, just like we saw, like you said, David, against Heidelberg 2 weeks ago. We will take a break. It is halftime, 13-7 your score. Otterbein leads rival Capital by 6. This is Otterbein TV, coverage of Otterbein football. OTV will be back in a second.
Columbus Square Bowling Palace. It's been the premier bowling destination in Central Ohio for 30 years. With 64 lanes of bowling open 24 hours, no matter what time it is. There's always time at the Palace for fun with friends and family. Join the Night Owl regulars at Columbus Square Bowling Palace, where the fun never sleeps.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. If you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Who says 30 can't be fun? The Columbus Square Bowling Palace is turning 30, and the fun has just begun. Come celebrate our birthday with us. With 64 lanes of bowling open 24 hours for fun with friends and family, no matter what time it is, there's always time at the Palace. The Palace is the perfect place to hold your birthday party or corporate employee groups. Call us today to make your reservation. 30 years old and better than new, with millions of dollars in renovations at the highest rated bowling center in Columbus, the Columbus Square Bowling Palace.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults 15 to 29. And one person dies from melanoma every hour. It's time. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
I don't think anyone captured my first steps on camera. I was the 5th kid, and by that time, first steps weren't a big deal. I was 16 and driving home with my brother Ben. A distracted driver hit us. Ben died on impact. I had 47 days in a hospital bed for reality to settle in. With a major spinal cord injury, doctors said I would never walk again. But deep down, I knew I would. I prayed that every day. Family, friends, strangers, all started to pray for me to be able to walk again. The progress has been slow, and the victories hard won, but I feel the prayers.
Whether you need support in a tragedy or just to make it through a bad day, prayer can make a difference. America, let's come together by believing with each other.
For someone to come alongside you and say, I'm going to believe with you, it means a lot.
join the Cardinal Band and the Department of Music in thanking all of today's participants. This afternoon's show continues with an unapologetic attitude and legendary status of rock and roll royalty. Their album Zeppelin 3 and featuring Cardinal Band twirler Kara Mills, this is Immigrant Song. Ladies and gentlemen, your Cardinal Marching Band in our 2013 All-Stars! Cardinal Marching Band is directed by Dr. Michael Janchak, Associate Director of Bands at Otterbein University. The Assistant Director of the Cardinal Marching Band and Director of Wind, Brass, and Percussion Activities at Otterbein University is Dr. Margaret Underwood. Senior Assistants are Bree Lovensheimer and Connor Scott. Our Percussion Coordinator is Eric Frisch. Our Twirler Coordinator is Linnea Johnson. Our Color Guard Coordinator is Carly Marr. Bandanas for this performance has been largely provided by Matt Cole. And finally, the voice of your Cardinal Marching Band, Ryan Loaf. Thank you for supporting live music and attending this afternoon's event. Go Cards!
Here at Memorial Stadium, rivalry week, and Otterbein went to the locker room with a 13-7 advantage over the visitors from Bexley. David Kinder, Harrison Ralph coming at you. Thanks for watching OTV. And Harrison, it was a first half that was characterized mostly by the rushing attack of the Crusaders. They had a huge day so far with well over 200 yards, led by Cameron out of the backfield.
Coleman, yeah.
Excuse me,
Alex Coleman. And it started on the first play from scrimmage. It started with a 65-yard touchdown run on the first play from scrimmage by Alex Coleman, and Otterbein really hasn't found an answer yet. I mean, seven carries for Alex Coleman and 154 yards, and then the touchdown in one half of football. I mean, this is, it's really inexcusable. That can't happen. It shouldn't happen. But you look at some of these other stats, look at team stats, 13-7 your score. Otterbein has thrown the ball exceptionally well. Sizemore to Carpenter has really been the go-to there. Carpenter already 7 catches, 117 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Rushing, though, has been a completely different story. Otterbein has not been able to run the ball, just as Capital has been unable to pass the ball. So even there as far as total yards. Penalties, Capital 55 yards. They've had a couple big penalties, including one 15-yard unsportsmanlike on their head coach, and Capital also with 1 turnover on the fumble on the option.
Well, that turnover really has been the difference in the game, it seems, too. In the first quarter, they try to run that option, and Longwell, his first mistake of the game, he tries to get it to his back on the option pitch there, and he loses possession of it a little bit behind him. He fumbles it. Otterbein's able to come up with it, and that has really been the difference in the game, because the very next play, Ben Sizemore found Carpenter in the end zone for the touchdown. Of course, missed the extra point, but that is how they have the touchdown lead that they currently have.
Yeah, it's 13-7 your score. Otterbein up 6, but really, like we heard Coach Daup say at the half, they should be up by a lot more. They left a lot of points out on the field. Coach Daup said, in my opinion, it should be 28-7. So, 3 trips to the red zone inside the 20-yard line. You come away scoring only 1 time. That's not very good. That's not going to get it done. That's not what winning football teams do, but we'll see if Otterbein can improve here on that in half number 2.
Well, a play that got negated that should have been a touchdown. It looked like it would have been an easy one to Carpenter with a holding call, or I think it was an offsides call. That got negated. And then let's talk about right before half. Otterbein still had 10 seconds to try to run a play on 3rd down, and Coach Daup, right out of a timeout, decides to run the field goal unit out there. And there seemed to be some indecision on who to run out there as kicker. Nick Gannis was all the way on the track. They didn't know if it was going to be Alana Gaither. Gannis gets out there with only about 4 seconds left on the play clock, has to rush his kick, goes wide right. He's now missed his 2nd of the day, 4th on the year. It seemed like a poor decision to not only not know who your kicker was going to be, to kick the field goal in general. They still have plenty of time to run another play, whether you throw it for a 1st down, they can go up and spike it with the clock stop, or at least just throw it towards the sideline so you can get out of bounds to stop the play. You didn't even have to throw it to the end zone, but it seemed like a poor decision out of Coach Daup that time.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of blame that could go around, but I think it all goes back to coaching. It comes back to putting your players in the best situations to succeed. Putting each individual player in the best situation for them to succeed. Now, having your kicker sprint out with 5 seconds left on the play clock to attempt a field goal, that is not putting your players in the best situation for them to succeed. Now, I don't know if it was if Gannis should have been down. I don't know if he was where he was supposed to be, but whichever way, you have to know, hey, Gannis, be ready, because we may have to run on for a field goal. Tell Alana the same thing, and have them both be right there on the sideline. So as soon as you know that you're going to run the kicking team on, you have both kickers there, and you can say, okay, you go. And then there's no confusion, there's no delay, there's no debacle, which is really what we saw at the end of the first half. We will move now to half number 2. 6-point lead for Otterbein. And they will receive to start quarter number 3. But, yeah, I mean, that was really a poor job. And, David, like we've said, it's the 2nd time this season, the 2nd time in 3 weeks that we've seen Otterbein really falter at the end of a half. And that's something that, good teams don't do that. Now, can it be fixed? Of course it can, but it is concerning that it has happened twice, and that it wasn't corrected after the first time it happened 2 weeks ago against Heidelberg.
And they're all things that if you end up losing a game, you go back and regretting and thinking about and overanalyzing the things that you said, well, maybe if we did this right, we could have got the victory. I know there was a lot of that against Berg 2 weeks ago. They said, well, maybe if we had run that play a little bit better execution towards halftime, we could have went down only 7 and could have had a better second half. And it's all hindsight. You never know what really could have happened, but you don't want to leave any regrets out there on the field, and that's what Otterbein has apparently done, at least for the close of the first half. Hopefully they can get things done and have a little bit better of a second half and pull away from Cap here.
Really a sloppy half, and Otterbein fortunate to have a lead, but 2 missed field goals, a missed extra point, and only 1 score in 3 trips to the red zone. That is not a recipe for success. But Capital hasn't done themselves any favors with a lot of penalties and miscues of their own. So we'll see what we have here as we begin half number 2. And Otterbein out to the 30 and out of bounds at the 32. So good field position again for the Otterbein Cardinals. That's Josh Bischel, the sophomore defensive back, coming up with a big special teams play, getting the ball out past the 30-yard line for Ben Sizemore and company.
Yeah, Ben had a huge first half, too. He did it rather quietly. He went 16 of 21, 208 yards and a pair of scoring passes to his favorite senior receiver, Carpenter, and that is the most yards he has thrown for in a half all year. Of course, a long of 51. Hopefully he can get some more protection from the line in this half.
And they get the ball to Carpenter, their top playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. He can't find any room and is brought down for no gain. 2nd down and 10.
No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 is the 32.
Yeah,
Bryson Ray comes into the game for Otterbein.
Sizemore sacked 5 times in that first half. Harrison going down a lot and going down often quickly as the line failed to protect him and give him much time to throw the ball.
5 wide for the Cardinals. And Sizemore is going to go to Bryson Ray, makes the catch, and is up to the 39-yard line. Nice pickup of about 7, and that'll set up a 3rd down and 3 for the Cardinals.
Drew Young and Jordan Blair on the tackle. 7-yard gain to the 39, 3rd down 3.
Connor Lucas and Bryce Frenzel back into the game.
Watch out for Carpenter, the receiver, in the slot to the near side.
Laird, Frenzel, Lucas, Carpenter, and McCoy are the receivers, but Sizemore is not sure exactly what. I'm not sure if that was a designed quarterback draw, if that was supposed to be a quarterback draw, or.
It looked to me like it was a designed quarterback keeper, which is a play Otterbein doesn't run too often, and when they do, it's not a very successful one, just like we saw there. Otterbein's line doesn't get a great push, which is what you need if you're going to run a quarterback keeper straight out of the shotgun like that, and it's a play I really don't understand on 3rd down. You've had a lot of success on short little quick passes. I don't know why you would turn away from that now when you need a 1st down.
Certainly some questionable play calls and decisions made by the Otterbein coaching staff here today. Punt by Keaton is going to take a plethora of Otterbein bounces and is down at the, looks like 6 or 7 yard line. So a nice punt there from Jordan Keaton. Special teams, an area that Otterbein has certainly fixed, cleaned up after a rough week last weekend at Mount Union. 2 blocked punts and come back today. A couple of good punts from Keaton, some good returns from Carpenter and Brischel.
Capital football, 1st and 10 at their own 7.
And special teams unit is back playing good football. 1st and 10. Freshman Longwell under center, gives it up the middle, and a Nice pickup of about 9 for Walton. Sets up a 2nd down and 1 from the 16.
As we mentioned, only 2 completions in the entire first half for Chase Longwell, just 3 yards passing. Obviously, that is not the type of offense they're going to run. Don't need to pass the ball to be effective.
And that's, I believe, Walton again, who will get the 1st down on forward progress. So Otterbein comes out, 3 and out, punt the ball away, and Capital picks up the 1st down on their opening possession in half number 2. Ball in the far hash. Alex Coleman in motion. He's going to get the toss. Nice job there by Otterbein, sealing off the edge.
Well, Ty Compton really fought off his block that time. He was being taken out at the legs. We talked a lot about in the first half. The skill players not with the ball in the hand are doing a great job of taking out the legs of the Cardinals. Ty Compton realized that he was going to get his legs taken out, and he's able to fight off his block and wrap him up in the backfield to the rest of his friends in red jerseys who are able to gang tackle him.
Yeah, that was a very good job, like you said, David, by Compton to shed the blocker and make a big play for the defense. 2nd down and long for the freshman quarterback. Handoff is to Walton, who is dragged down by Zach Reeves after about a 3-yard pickup. 3rd and long now from the 21-yard line for the Capital Crusaders.
3 yards to the 21, 3rd down, 7.
Third and long, you expect to see a pass here, David?
I would imagine so. Capital has not had too many long runs with the exception of the first couple ones, so wouldn't be surprised if they tried to surprise Otterbein with a forward pass here. And looks like they're going to get a little bit of jumping, and that makes their goal a little bit closer as they push them closer to the 1st down sticks, if indeed it was Otterbein that jumped first. It looked like it was. Looked like it was Tyler Green that might have moved the nose tackle.
Defense, number 68, contact in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty.
The junior guilty of that foul, and that will make it a far more manageable 3rd down and about 3 now for Capital. So a big penalty, and again, something that Otterbein kind of brings on themselves. And now you certainly can run the ball if you're Capital, which is, of course, what they like to do. And it's going to be Walton up the middle, and he does pick up a 1st down. Austin Jones with the tackle, but not after a big pickup and a punishing run from Walton.
Austin Jones has really stepped up in his role as an inside linebacker. We talked a lot about it in the preview of the game today. He is the leading tackler coming into this one, despite just being a freshman. He's done a great job today reading who gets the ball in this tricky triple offense that Capital runs.
And again, Walton up the middle, tripped
there
up
again
by Austin Jones. Pickup of 2 on the carry. And Walton just a freshman, as is Austin Jones, like you said, David. And these two guys are going to be going at it for the next few years here in the great rivalry between Otterbein University and Capital University. Again, toss out to, I believe that is Jake Brakey. Yes, it is Jake Brakey carrying for a pickup of about 5 or 6. So split up 3rd down and 2. Ball at the 41-yard line.
Not much of a surprise what you think they're going to run here, Harrison. Can't imagine they're going to pull any trickery out here. Capital tried to ground it out all game long. They are approaching the 250-yard rushing mark in the game.
And Walton up the middle.
He didn't
I'm
get
not
it.
sure if he got it. Defensive line and the front seven for Otterbein did a nice job of getting a push up front. And now we're going to have a personal foul. It's going to be, I believe, against Capital. It looked like Wes McKeever and Alex Coleman got into it a little bit after the play, and then Coleman, while complaining to the ref, looks like he drew a flag, and we'll see who this goes against. Like I said, I believe it's going to go against Capital.
After the play, unsportsmanlike. Offense, number 3. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Still third down.
Goes on Coleman.
As I said, Coleman and McKeever had a little extracurricular activity after that last third down and short run, and 15-yard penalty. So 4th and 16 now for Capital. That'll bring on the punt team. And Connor Lucas.
4th and 16 Capital. All right, can someone, Joey Riley, can you get the punter? And then Paige, can you get the punt return?
Connor Lucas back for Otterbein to receive. Also Joey Beatty. And it's going to be Lucas. Fields it at the 37. Crosses the 45. Gets up to the 47. So a 10-yard return from Connor Lucas. And Otterbein will start with great field position after Capital again shoots itself in the foot on the unsportsmanlike conduct on that last play that set up this great field position here for the Otterbein Cardinals.
And if you're Otterbein, you don't want to keep the score where it is much longer. Capital still just hanging around there, only trailing by 6 points. You'd love to be able to get some points on the board here and start to get some separation away from the Crusaders. That way you're not always under the constant threat that at any one play they can regain that lead. Now they'll return back to that pistol with Chester Deaton checking into the game.
Drew Irvin just 3 carries for -4 yards in the first half. He's going to get another carry here and pick up about 5 on the play into Capital territory as they cross midfield.
Well, coming into this one, Harrison, he had 410 rushing yards on the season, and almost a third of those came in one game against Baldwin Wallace. So his numbers for the season really don't reflect what he has done outside that outlier of that one game against B-Dub.
McCoy at the top of your screen. Carpenter in the slot on the near side. Handoff is to Irvin, and he's going to be stuffed for a loss of about, it's going to be about a half-yard loss on the second down run. Set up a 3rd and 7 now for Tim Doubt, Ben Sizemore, and the Cardinal offense.
On the day, Otterbein is just 3 of 8 on converting third downs. Coming into this one, 30% on the year. You mentioned that's one of the things they need to improve on. They want to have success throughout the course of the 2013 campaign.
Reed Hutchinson on for Otterbein in the backfield, and that's got to be a false start there, I believe, on Hutchinson, the freshman, getting his first action of the day. I believe he's going to get a false start called against him.
Offense, number 7, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
He said number 7, but we don't have a number 7 on the field right now. So
Trey Fairchild back?
Yeah. So that's that penalty is going to go against Hutchinson, excuse me. So Reed Hutchinson, the freshman, comes in and makes a quick mistake, and he will immediately come back out.
That's always got to be a killer to the ego. You get your first chance, and I've talked to a lot of players who said the coaching staff likes what he does in practice, and they want to work him into the offense more, but when you get your first action of the game and you commit a false start penalty, no reason coach shouldn't pull you.
5 receivers. Sizemore dropping back. against a 5-man rush for Capital and completes it over the middle. First down, Connor Lucas promptly points, tells the chain gang to move those chains, and Otterbein picks up a first down back in to Capital territory at the 41-yard line. First down 10 as Otterbein picks up a fresh set of downs. And we see with Connor Lucas, it seems like he's always making catches over the middle, across the middle. His shorter routes, doesn't go too deep often, but a nice safety net, for Ben Sizemore. Able to pick up the first down on a 3rd and long, and here's Hutchinson back into the game, getting a carry, picking up maybe 1 on the play. And Hutchinson now will exit the field as Frenzel, Lucas, and Sizemore return to the huddle. 5 wide receivers set. 3 down linemen for Capital. And Sizemore scrambling around, needs to get rid of it. Does just that. Pass intended for Joey Beatty, incomplete off the fingertips. Good job, though, by Ben Sizemore to escape the quick pressure and avoid a sack. 3rd down and 9 from the 41 now for the Cardinals, or from the 40, excuse me.
Yeah, good job of Sizemore. That's the first time we've seen him all day be able to break a potential sack. He's able to escape the pressure and at least get rid of it. That way he does not go down with his 7th sack of the game. Otterbein line not holding any better in this half than they did in the first half for Ben.
Chad McCray in the near side slot for the Cardinals. Steve Carpenter in the slot up top. Sizemore looking downfield. Is going to step up in the pocket, look to run. Gets a block from Hutchinson and is going to be short of the first down. And we're going to get a flag. I don't know if I agree with that call, but we will get a personal foul against Capital. And that will be an automatic first down, 15-yard penalty, and the Otterbein Cardinals.
Well, it looked like the officials down there might have been influenced a little bit. The entire section surrounding Sizemore on that play threw their arms up in the air saying they wanted a flag, and he was a little hesitant, didn't throw it right away. But I have to agree with you there, Harrison. It looked like he was still in bounds when he initially hit him and then kind of lit up as soon as he got hit. I'm not so sure that should have been a penalty flag.
You need to take into consideration the fact that that's a 3rd down play, and that was very close to the sticks. So, I mean, if you're going to go over there and not hit him, he may pick up the first down because it's a matter of inches at that point when you get that close to the sticks. And that may be what the referees are talking about here, trying to decide if it really should be a penalty.
Illegal block below the waist.
Oh.
Number 27.
Wow.
So there we go.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Defense number 2.
Offsetting penalties.
Measure him back and forth.
A very
what did you
confusing
just say there?
Explanation.
What do you hear there?
What I took away from that is that right. What I took away from it is that Hutchinson threw a block that was illegal. So then the penalty flag, they shouldn't negate each other because if it's a personal foul, it's a dead ball foul after the play. So what they should do is move the ball back and then effectively move it back forward again. But Otterbein would have the first down regardless because the dead ball foul is a automatic first down. So it wouldn't be a replay of down because the out-of-bounds hit was a dead ball foul, is the way I interpreted what the zebra on the field just said.
Well,
I don't know if I put it as elegantly as he did, but...
All right, so after a little bit of confusion, I think the refs made a mistake there, but Sizemore on the run in the far side trying to turn the corner. Barely does. Picks up about 4 yards. Typically, though, that play with that illegal block is going to either be accepted or declined. In that situation, I would imagine it would have been accepted by Capital, which would have moved him back 15 yards, would have been 4th and about 16, but then you have the personal foul penalty, which would make it then 3rd and 1, essentially. But that was not the case. Not sure. I don't think they got it right, but here we are. Either way, and Sizemore in the play action is going to throw out to McCoy, who goes down and makes a catch and is quickly knocked out of bounds by the Capital defensive back, Anthony Sissoni.
Just the 4th reception of the game from McCoy. We mentioned would have been nice to see Sizemore target him a little bit more. 34 yards after that pickup for the Miriam Franklin graduate now on the day.
McCoy gets a breather on the sideline. Anthony Davis in for McCoy. Irvin up the middle.
Drew Irvin on the carry.
Pickup of about a yard. And Drew Irvin, like we've talked about, David, big guy, obviously can do some damage running between the tackles, but recently, the last handful of games, this past stretch of 3 or 4 games, it has not been productive at all for the freshman running back.
No, and they keep going with him, I think, because they keep hoping that we'll get a performance like in the game against the Yellow Jackets. But in my opinion, and no offense to Drew, not that game was a fluke, but he benefited from a few missed tackles and several long runs that propelled him to the 230 yards rushing.
Play action. Sizemore rolling. He's going to take off with it, cross the 20, and run out of bounds about the 15.5-yard line. It's going to be short of a first down. It's going to be 3rd and about 2 now for the Cardinals as they once again move this drive into the red zone. They're only 1 for 3 on the day, 1 for 3 on the day, as they've made a few mistakes in the red zone. We'll see if Otterbein can put that behind him and finish this drive off with some points. 5 receivers for the Cardinals. Sizemore, and he's going to call a timeout. So, as the play clock was running down, Sizemore takes a timeout, and they will talk it over on the sideline.
Well, last time we saw him in action here at Memorial Stadium, Sizemore burned through all 3 timeouts rather quickly, and you hope that something like that doesn't come back to bite him again, because while it's a luxury you have right now that you can call those timeouts and go back over and talk things over, they're commodities, and they're something you really want towards the end of the game, and you hope that you don't waste them early or in the game when you don't really need them, when you need to stop the clock later on.
I think it's probably a good timeout. At 3rd and 2, you don't want to get that delay of game penalty and make it a 3rd and 7. 3rd and 2, obviously, much more manageable than 3rd and 7. So I think it's pretty good use of a timeout. But yeah, I mean, definitely later in the game, those timeouts are very important. Can be. But I think on 3rd and 2, you got to get this call right. Try to pick up that first down and continue this drive.
What do you think works best here? Obviously, Otterbein's rushing game has proven to be extremely ineffective in this game. They only have, as it sits right now, 14 rushing yards in this game, Harrison. Do you go with the pass, which worked for you, or since it's such a manageable down, you try to pick it up on the ground?
I think you definitely are going to see Sizemore drop back. He can run, obviously, as we've seen, if he needs to. Or Connor Lucas, who's now in the game, over the middle is what I would expect here from this Cardinal offense on a 3rd and 2 from the 16-yard line. And Sizemore to Carpenter. Nice little out right there, and wide open, hits Carpenter for a first down. That was pretty easy there, Dave.
Yeah, you've been saying that name a lot today, Sizemore to Carpenter. That's the 8th time they've hooked up, over 124 receiving yards and a pair of touchdowns, and he is clearly the go-to guy, and he's an incredibly reliable target for Sizemore. Anytime he needs to pick up some yards, Sizemore's always there on a quick little out route, and he can pick up what he needs for the first down, and the Cards have it 1st and goal now.
Well, on that 3rd and 2, Capital was playing very loose coverage on the Otterbein receivers. And Sizemore saw that and took what the defense gave him, picking up the first down, setting up a 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line.
Speedy Hammond in at running back.
Excuse me. And a fumble, but he's going to recover it, and now we have a flag. So Tyler Hammond loses the handle, but recovers it, and we have a flag. Looks like it's going to be, yes, it will be against Otterbein. It's going to be illegal block. And here we go again, Dave, in the red zone. 1st and goal from the 9, and come out, commit a penalty. It's going to push you back to 1st and goal, but it's going to be from...
Block in the back. Offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty from previous spot. First down.
So yeah, you're going to have 1st and goal from the 19. I mean, again, David, it's like clockwork. They continue to struggle at the end of these drives.
Yeah.
They get in the red zone. They do a great job moving the football. They get down there, and they just seem to fall apart.
Yeah, and even if they didn't have that penalty, the back still fumbled the ball and almost gave it away to Capital.
Well, I think that's why Hammond is now out of the game. 5 wide receivers over the middle, and a poorly thrown ball from Sizemore. It was intended for McCoy on the shallow crossing route, but falls incomplete, sets up 2nd and goal from the 19-yard line.
Yeah, he had McCoy wide open across the middle, and it didn't look like it would net too many yards as 2 safeties were closing in on him, but still a poorly thrown ball, something we haven't seen too much out of Sizemore today. He's been very effective passing the ball, that one a little bit behind his receiver, and it will bring up a 2nd down now for the Cards.
A lot of 5 wide receiver sets today for the Cardinal offense. Connor Lucas and Steve Carpenter in the slots. And Sizemore is going to get rid of this one too. Connor Lucas makes one man miss, trying to get to that pylon, and he's going to be ridden out of bounds at the 3-yard line. So a nice play there, and Connor Lucas again shows his playmaking ability as he's able to evade a couple of Capital Crusaders and take the ball down to the 3-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and goal now. 3 yards
like
away from the goal line, and that'll end the quarter. So we will switch sides here as Otterbein and Capital will head down to the other end zone, and we will have 3rd and 3 when we come back. We're going to take a short break here on Otterbein TV. This is live coverage of Otterbein football, rivalry week at Memorial Stadium between Capital and Otterbein. We'll be right back.
Who says 30 can't be fun? The Columbus Square Bowling Palace is turning 30, and the fun has just begun. Come celebrate our birthday with us. With 64 lanes of bowling open 24 hours for fun with friends and family. No matter what time it is, there's always time at the Palace. The Palace is the perfect place to hold your birthday party or corporate employee groups. Call us today to make your reservation. 30 years old and better than new, with millions of dollars in renovations at the highest rated bowling center in Columbus, the Columbus Square Bowling Palace.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the 2nd most common cancer in teens and young adults 15 to 29. And 1 person dies from melanoma every hour. It's time. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Back to action, and Sizemore takes off with it. Can't get it to the goal line. going to set up 4th and goal from the 1. We apologize as we missed the first half of that play, but it was a 5 wide. It was another 5 wide receiver set. Sizemore snapped the ball and tried to find the goal line, could not do so, and
Harrison, there's no way you kick the field goal here. There's no way, and it looks like what they're going to do, but I cannot agree with that. There's no way you should kick the field goal in this situation. You've missed.
You make it a two score
you're
game.
from the 1 yard out. If your offense can't punch it in from here, then they don't need to be on the field. You've already missed 2. Granted, they're from different situations and from further out. You've already missed an extra point. There's no way you should be going for this.
And it's good. So Alana Gaither knocks it through for 3 points. But David, it's a 2-score game now. Capital has to score twice. With a 9-point lead is much greater than 6. It's very valuable to be up 2 scores
It's good to be up
1.
6, but it's better to be up 2 touchdowns because you can go for the conversion afterwards. Given the situation you've had with your special teams today, already missed a pair of field goals. You've missed an extra point. That was from extra point distance right there. If you can't pick up 1 yard, and I know they haven't been able to rush the ball very effectively, if you cannot give it up the middle and pick up 1 yard,
I think you're talking yourself out of your own decision.
I don't agree with the call to kick the field goal. I think they should have went for it. But looking around the OAC, Harrison, at several other teams,
look at that.
As we take a look at some of the other teams in action right now, the game in Alliance, Ohio, as waiting for the score tracker to update here in the press box. Only the finest internet connection here.
David very frustrated here in the booth as Jordan Boniface tees it up.
A look at some of the other scores.
You haven't yet, Dave, or you want me to keep filling for you?
I'm trying to, Harrison, but
well, we'll go ahead and promote ourselves. OTV basketball coverage begins December 4th against the Marietta Pioneers. Marietta, always a good team in the Ohio Athletic Conference. They will be here at the Reich Center on December 4th. That will be our first basketball game of the season here on Otterbein TV. Pre-game begins at 7 p.m. All brought to you by the Columbus Square Bowling Palace. Very short kickoff is fielded and taken up to the 32-yard line. And that's where Capital will begin their first drive of quarter number 4 here at Memorial Stadium.
Well, the statistics now have decided to work, and as we look around the conference, Bolden Wallace has increased their lead against Marietta to 31-7. Ohio Northern has steamrolled Muskingum 49-0. John Carroll taking it to Wilmington in Wilmington 56-0, and a 10-point ball game in Tiffin, Ohio at the start of the 4th quarter. Mount Union 37, Heidelberg 27, and a battle of 2 of the 3 undefeated remaining teams in league play.
That's good stuff there. Heidelberg putting up a lot of points on what a lot of people have called the best defense in the country in Mount Union. And we saw that offense at work here a couple of weeks ago, David.
We definitely did.
Cartel Brooks ran right through this Otterbein defense.
It'd be interesting to see what his final number is against the Purple Raiders. And speaking of running the ball, Alex Coleman has now carried over the 150-yard mark in the game with that carry. 8 carries, 154 yards, and a touchdown for him. Longwell still just 2 completions in the game for 3 yards.
2nd and 2 now. Longwell's going to throw. Wanted to go deep. Good coverage downfield from Alex Cameron. And Longwell's going to scamper for a first down. Out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Longwell was trying for the double move to his receiver on the far side, but Alex Cameron stuck right with the receiver, and Longwell wisely tucked it down and ran with the ball instead of trying to force one downfield. Walton in the backfield. Coleman now in motion. The give is to Walton up the middle, and didn't look like he received that handoff cleanly, but able to hold on to it and actually pick up 5 or 6 yards on the first down run.
Yeah, and as a team so far today, Capital has continued dominating, rushing the ball, nearing 250-yard mark in the game. Otterbein equaling that with almost 250 passing yards.
The give again is to Walton up the middle, picks up 2 on the play. It's up a 3rd and short as Capital crosses midfield into Otterbein territory.
Tackled by Tyler Green.
Beautiful time of year here in the Midwest, Westerville, Ohio. Nice fall day for a football game. Trees changing colors. And nice crisp temperatures each day. A little overcast, but that's okay. Alex Coleman ripping off another big run on the same play we've seen him be successful on.
Late flag comes on the field too, Harrison, down there near the 20-yard line.
I don't see it, but oh, it's out of bounds. The flag is out of bounds.
After the play, personal foul.
Oh, wow.
Defense number 26.
Alex Cameron.
I can't believe they're making that call. It looked to me to be a clean tackle. Otterbein clearly bit on the fake on the triple option to give up the middle. The entire defensive line surrounded on him thinking it was a handoff of the middle, and they fell for it. And he was able to bounce it towards the outside, but it looked like a clean tackle to me. Didn't look like he hit him out of bounds, but nonetheless, it goes against Cameron and 15 yards in favor of the Crusaders.
3 wide receiver set for Capital on 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. This is Walton. He's going to be wrapped up and spun around by linebacker Eric Mitchell.
Good thing Mitchell stopped when he did, trying to tackle him. It looks like if he had drawn him to the ground, he would have picked up another personal foul, the way the officials have been throwing that flag around today.
Second and 7 now for the Crusaders as they look to make this a one-score game. Just under 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The give is out to Coleman, who has an opening, but that opening was sealed up quickly. Austin Jones on the stop.
Yeah, Austin Jones did a great job reading that play, running parallel from his linebacker position and not biting on the fake handoff and following the pitch man. And it will be close to the first down sticks there. But it will be short and will bring up a big third down for the Crusaders.
Capital breaks huddle. 1 wide receiver to the wide side of the field. Walton in the backfield. The give is to Walton, and it looks like he did pick up the first down just barely. And yes, they will make the signal for first down, and Capital now in business. 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. 16-7 is your score. 9-point lead for the Otterbein Cardinals. Now in jeopardy as Capital has driven the ball down to the 6-yard line of Otterbein. 9:45 left to play in regulation. The give is to Walton, and he will waltz in for the touchdown. Capital puts it in the end zone here in the fourth quarter, and that'll cut it down to a 1-possession lead. 16-13 the score, and the extra point coming for Capital. Walton has had a very efficient game, has done a great job on the ground all afternoon long, and is rewarded with the touchdown right there as the Otterbein defense gives up another long drive and another rushing touchdown. Riley now in for the point after. And he puts it through, so 16-14 is your score from Memorial Stadium. And we're going to have a great finish here on Rivalry Weekend at Otterbein University. Capital Crusaders trail the Otterbein Cardinals by just 2 About 9.5 left in the fourth quarter. So David, Otterbein now has been somewhat conservative here in the second half. Do you think they get more aggressive now with Capital being only 2 points behind?
Well, I think you have to, and especially the way Capital just moved the ball. A very methodical drive out of them. That drive started at the start of the quarter, took almost 6 minutes off the clock, 8 plays, over 60 yards. And if Capital is going to keep possession of the ball for as much as they are, Otterbein needs to make sure to take advantage of when they do have the ball. You can't continue to do those simple runs up the middle with your backs. I think that they need to get back to how they were passing the ball in the first half and try to exploit the middle of the field like they had a lot of success doing with long throws to not only Steve Carpenter but also Connor Lucas.
Carpenter and Bischel back to return for Otterbein. The kick is fielded by Bischel just inside the 10. Across the 25, breaks a tackle and makes it up to the 27. Some extracurricular activity. No flags, however, and Otterbein will begin their drive at the 26-yard line.
Yeah, and Ben Sizemore, 208 yards passing on the day. All those came in the first half, Harrison. He still, or not all, 190 of them came in the first half for Ben. So not very many yards passing for the Cardinals here in this second half of action. And I think that if they want to have success, obviously still a one-possession game, try to exploit the middle of the field like they were doing with those post routes that we saw a lot of from Carpenter.
The pitch to Hammond, and he's going to attempt to turn the corner. Can't do it. Knocked out of bounds at the 29 after a pickup of about 4.5. And Hammond still down on the sideline. He did fall awkwardly. He's grabbing that right knee, and that looks like a pretty serious injury. Hammond clearly in pain on the Otterbein sideline, being tended to, but yeah, he's pointing to his knee, and that does not look good for Tyler Hammond.
Now, Otterbein has used 4 different ball carriers in this game, with Hutchinson, Hammond, Irvin, and Rudolph all getting about equal playing time so far in this game, but Hammond, one of the ones they rely to, who can get a lot of speed around on those in rushes, as we just saw the play he got injured on.
And a nice shot there. Well, we did have a nice shot of Hammond on the sideline. Hammond being worked on, clearly in pain on the sideline. His right knee is what looks to be the problem, and everyone you can see on that sideline is very concerned about their fallen teammate. Compton now able to get to his feet, and we'll walk over to the training table. We'll try to get an update from our sideline reporter, Jordan Brown, see what she can dig up and find out as far as the injury to Tyler Hammond, the junior. Back to action now, 2nd down and 6. The give is to Rudolph, who is tripped up and stays on his feet. Only picks up about a yard. Had to work extremely hard for that yard, though. Rudolph putting in some great effort, unfortunately unable to find any running room, and it brings up 3rd and about 5.5 or 6.
Harrison, the word you said was conservative, and I still don't get why Otterbein's offense has gone so run-heavy here in the second half. You had over 200 yards passing in the first half, very effective, and it's not like this is a blowout where you just have the luxury of running out the clock. You see them now in the spread formation, but they could have exploited the passing game a lot earlier in the second half.
Now on 3rd and long, they're forced to go to the pass. Lucas over the middle, and it is completed for a first down. And David, like you said, I mean, all day, Otterbein has really been able to take what they want through the air. Well, but here in the second half, they've kind of gone away from it, which, like you said, has been somewhat head-scratching.
Those were plays they were converting almost every time in the first half. Sizemore's now 21 of 28, 262 yards on the game. But, again, most of that came in the first half, and they haven't given them a chance to pass the ball too much in the second half. And this is by no means a game where you just can start running out the clock and trying to hold on to the ball. It's still over 8 minutes left to play, and it's only a one-possession ball game.
And it's not like Sizemore is, prone to throwing a lot of interceptions.
No, one on the year. And that came to the number 1 team in the country.
And it's going to be, I believe, a hold over on Bryce Frenzel, the senior wide receiver. And that will be the call, so it's going to be a 10-yard penalty. It'll back Otterbein up. And another penalty potentially stalling this drive. It's going to set up a first down and spot the foul. Probably be first and about 18.
Well, double digits now for the Cards in the penalty category.
Offense, number 2, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
And 5 of those 10 that they've had have been holding penalties, Harrison, so of the 10-yard variety, and those are ones that can really cost your team, as we see there, a positive play on the screen pass negated by a hold on by Frenzel, and will push him back even more.
5 wide receivers. Sizemore takes a snap. Capital rushes 3. Sizemore throws a strike down the field, completed to Carpenter, but then hit, and
incomplete.
They're going to say incomplete. Carpenter took a pretty good hit going across the middle. And Carpenter looks to be okay.
It was awfully close to him having possession of that football and then dropping it, Harrison. Very close. You could have said that he did make a football move, and that could have been ruled a fumble because it looked like he had possession until he got popped on that play.
That was Steve Carpenter who was hit on that play. And he remains in the game right now. Reset the game, the play clock here. Game clock at 7:33. So second and 18 now for the senior quarterback against the biggest rival of the Otterbein Cardinals, the Capital Crusaders. 3-man rush from Capital finds Carpenter, who is again hit hard.
Oh.
And kind of that's borderline taunting right there from Capital. Obviously, I don't know what he's saying, but that is another vicious hit from the defensive back, Anthony Sissoni.
This is a terrible sight if you're an Otterbein fan. Carpenter took his helmet off almost immediately, and just minutes after Hammond's injury, now Carpenter is laid out on the grass here at Memorial Stadium, appears to be injured too, straight after taking another vicious blow. The previous play, that one he popped up a little bit quicker. This one, he's in some serious pain right now, Harrison, and this is the biggest offensive weapon you have, and this is not something you want to see with only about 7 minutes and change remaining. He's been the number 1 target of Sizemore today, and he's going to, with some assistance, be able to sit upright now.
Oh, Carpenter got blown up on that play by the defensive back, Anthony Sissoni. Just a sophomore, but delivering back-to-back big hits, and Carpenter will be helped off the field. Looks like he's walking under his own power, but very gingerly. And now, David, I would imagine you're going to see this game become very, very physical, more so than it has been. I think Otterbein, and I can see Jordan Boniface on the sideline right now. He's jawing at number 10, Sissoni. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Otterbein defense, especially Jalen Kennedy, Jordan Boniface, the safeties, try to whip out some punishment of their own.
Well, these two teams just really don't like each other. That's not a surprise. They don't try to hate it. When you've been playing as long as they have since the 1800s, it's apparent these are two huge rivals.
Three-man rush again. This time Sizemore across the middle to Bryce Frenzel, who makes the catch for a first down. Big play there. Nice job, Bryce Frenzel stepping in, making a big play for a first down
and you know,
on a third and long play. It was a good job there. Frenzel finding the opening in the coverage, and Sizemore again delivers an accurate ball.
To make a defense quiet who continually jaws them out. This plays just like that. That's the only way you can stop them from doing that. They might still get mad and she'll try to go for cheap shots and hit you hard, but whenever you're picking up positive yardage like that, it gives them very little to talk about.
Well, I want to be I mean, both of the hits put on Carpenter, they were both legal. They were clean hits.
But there was still
they were big hits,
afterwards.
and there were bad intentions, of course, but you know, that's all legal. Sizemore now being pressured. He's going to have to square his shoulders. Instead, he'll just lob it out of bounds, throws it away, and they'll set up for 2nd and 10.
Carpenter is being examined down there on that sideline. So he has two trainers on him sitting on that bench. He was able to walk over towards the bench he's sitting on, but seriously, still in pain, his helmet off, and doesn't look like he's going to be returning to the field anytime soon, does the veteran Steve Carpenter.
Jordan Brown right there looking to get some some information on the injury. Not the bandana. And Otterbein is going to use their second timeout, so Otterbein down to one timeout. We're down to 6 minutes and 14 seconds left here in regulation.
Carpenter is up and walking now. He's off of the table. He's on the sidelines, standing by himself. A trainer still over there talking to him, but Carpenter looks to be all right. Not sure if he'll be able to return to action, but he is up, standing by himself, and appears to be good enough to walk around.
So 2nd down and 10 for the Cardinals when they come out of this timeout. Just over 6 minutes left here in regulation. And we'll see if Otterbein continues to be aggressive and attack through the air down the field, or if they're going to try to run some clock off and salt this thing away. 5 wide receivers. I guess that answers our question, David. Sizemore in the gun. Bryson Ray in the slot at the top of the screen. Bryce Frenzel in the slot on the near side. The throw is to McCoy, who I think came up with the catch. He did. A fingertip grab by Jeremy McCoy, the sophomore. Sensational catch. Ball thrown a little wide, but McCoy able to bail out his quarterback and make a big catch. Gives Otterbein a first down. And they're now inside the 24-yard line of the Crusaders.
Otterbein football, 1st and 10. Nice shot, Jay. Hold it. All right. Page your own.
3 wide receivers, 1 tight end. The back is Rudolph, and they hand it to him, and he is corralled behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of about a half yard, and a late flag comes in. It's going to be a face mask here against Capital, so it's going to be another big penalty against Capital.
Well, that'll be the Crusaders' 8th of the game, and Otterbein might benefit from the face mask there, but Harrison, they only have 32 rushing yards in this game.
And Steve Carpenter has gone out to the huddle there on the sideline. I'm not sure if he's going to go back in or not, but he is out there.
Defense, number 25, face mask, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Jason Hutchins, the senior defensive lineman, guilty of the personal foul, 15-yard face mask penalty, and Otterbein now 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. Steve Carpenter has returned to the field. He is in the slot on the far side. So number 4, Steve Carpenter, back in the game for the Cardinals after taking a couple bone-chilling hits. Sizemore now takes off, and he's going to pick up about 2. And Otterbein now with the ball at the 10-yard line.
It's really good to see that Carpenter was able to apparently make a recovery and head back into the game fairly quickly after 2 pretty hard hits that he took. Otterbein still struggling to rush the ball. 25 attempts, 32 yards. Can't imagine they'll return to the rushing game as Derek Rudolph checks back in at running back from the shotgun formation, standing to the right of Ben Sizemore. Sizemore is going to boot out to the far sideline. He's looking to throw. He lobs it to Bryson Ray. He had Ray wide open, but it's batted down by a Capital defensive lineman. Incomplete, and that will bring up a 3rd down for Otterbein in the red zone. So Sizemore ran a little bit of a fake there as he booted towards the far side, and they tried to get it back to the tight end Bryson Ray, who 2 weeks ago here at Memorial Stadium had an unbelievable one-handed grab for a touchdown. That time they can't get the play to work as a Capital defensive lineman is right there to bat it down. And we'll see Connor Lucas and Bryce Frensel run in from the sideline and huddle up with Sizemore.
We now have an injury report from Jordan Brown, doing a great job patrolling the sidelines. Lower abdomen pain for Stephen Carpenter, but as we've seen, he is back in the game. And we will update you on Hammond's status here after this 3rd down play. Sizemore looking to throw under pressure, and he's going to take off with it and be tackled by a group of Crusaders about a yard shy of the 1st down. David, it is decision time once again.
Yeah, it is, and it looks like he's going to be really close to the 1st down sticks, and I didn't like the call to kick the field goal the last time they did it, and I like it even less because even if you kick the field goal here, it might make it a more than field goal game, but it is still a touchdown can win it for Capital. And still with the woes you have had.
But if they don't kick the field goal, then a field goal would also win it.
Right, but the Otterbein defense has still played fairly well enough, and I just don't like the risk of going out there with, sure, a field goal puts you ahead by a field goal, but a touchdown in one play equally can put you just as far behind. It looks like it will be about a 4th down and 1 here.
Oh, we'll take a timeout. And Otterbein burns, that's their final one. Wow, so Otterbein now out of timeouts in a 2-point game with just 3.5 minutes left. Again, Otterbein just not taking care of those timeouts, really. And again, in a close game with not a whole lot of time left, not having timeouts, that can really be a problem. I promise you now an injury report on Tyler Hammond. Jordan Brown reporting that he has a grade 1.5 to 2 MCL injury. It was the initial hit. The ligament on the inside of the knee, the MCL, is a low-grade stress. So very tender on the inside of the right knee for Tyler Hammond, who was injured earlier on this drive on the run to the outside onto the sideline. And Alana Gaither will come on for the Cardinals to attempt this field goal.
Well, Alana is 3 for 3 on the year for field goal attempts.
Excuse me, David. So Alana Gaither here to attempt the 21-yard field goal. And the kick is up, and the kick is through. So Alana Gaither hits her 2nd field goal of the day. And Otterbein takes a 19-14 lead.
It looked as though before the timeout was called, Coach Daup was giving a lot of consideration to going for it on that play. The offense and Ben stayed out there for a significant amount of time. However, they call a timeout. They decide to talk it over, and they decide on 4th and 1 that they're going to try to extend their lead now, which they have done. It is now a 6-point contest, but a field goal can no longer win it for the Crusaders. They have to put it into the end zone with 3:26 up on the scoreboard in the south end zone. So a huge drive now for the Otterbein defense upcoming, and if they can stop the Crusaders and their potent rushing attack.
Very very important to know, David, also that Capital has all 3 timeouts.
That's right.
And we know that they obviously want to run the ball. That's where they had the most success, and that's what they're going to try to do. And with those 3 timeouts, it really allows you to still be able to run the football, knowing that you have those 3 timeouts to use if you get into a situation where you need to stop the clock. You can still run the football.
Yeah, luxury that Capital has that Otterbein now does not, as they just burn their 3rd and final.
Boniface has it teed up, puts toe to leather, an end-over-end kick, and it will be returned, gathered at the 5 and taken out to the 26-yard line. So that is where the Capital Crusaders and freshman quarterback Chase Longwell will come onto the field.
Well, if you are Capital, I don't think this is panic situation where you have to start throwing the ball. So far in the game, Capital has only attempted 6 passes, completing 2 of them for 3 yards. So obviously not your biggest offensive weapon there. And it's not so far in the game that you have to start panicking and start chucking the ball, something you're not good at. You've rushed for 290 yards in this game already. You can keep running it out on the ground if you are the Crusaders.
Watch Coleman on the wide side of the field. There it is. There's the toss to Coleman. Boniface comes up. This time makes the tackle. Nice job by the senior defensive back coming up, making the stop at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down, and actually there's going to be a loss on that last play. It's going to be 2nd and about 11. Three wideouts. Tight end and a running back, and Boniface again comes up with the tackle. This time
he's been doing a tremendous job of reading that option here recently. You know, we criticized him the very first play of the game for being a little out of position on that long touchdown run, but recently he has really read that option completely. Even if he wasn't out of position, missing the tackle, he has really stepped up and he started to make those tackles, and he read the option perfectly that time, saw that Longwell wasn't going to pitch it, and he was able to tackle him for a minimal gain.
Longwell throwing down the field, and this pass is completed. Number 17, the wide receiver for the Capital Crusaders, Jacob Bacho, the senior wide receiver, 6'4", and he uses his size to his advantage there, kind of like a power forward going up for a rebound, able to box Alex Cameron out with his body, go up and make the catch. Big play for the Capital Crusaders. And Boniface,
there it is again,
along with Zach Reeves, making the stop on 1st down after a 2-yard pickup, as Longwell keeps it on the option.
On that long pass completion, we just saw Alex Cameron look like he wanted a little bit maybe of a pass interference, a push-off perhaps on the receiver. Both of them look like they were hand-checking equally as much that time.
I'm surprised Capital is still huddling as the clock is now down to 1 minute and 30 seconds left. They'll now pass. Greaves gets blocked, and Longwell is going to go down after reaching midfield. And timeout called by Capital, so they'll stop the clock here.
Well, Harrison, it looks like Capital is content with making this their last drive of the game. Looks like they're going to say we're either going to win the game or lose the game on this drive. They're going to make sure that Otterbein does not get another chance to score any more points.
And you see Tyler Hammond right now on crutches on the sideline. Not a very good sign. Clearly he has ice on that right knee. As Jordan Brown reported earlier, it is an MCL stress. I'm sure he'll have some tests done, some MRI or X-ray done within the coming days. But Tyler Hammond obviously done for this afternoon's game, and hopefully he can return either next week against Marietta or in the season finale at Ohio Northern. But Tyler Hammond on crutches with an MCL injury suffered early in the 4th quarter. Back to the game now. Longwell in the shotgun. Walton in the backfield with Longwell. Longwell now running out, throws, and 1st down, Capital, as the catch is made by Bo Hardy, the sophomore running back. on a little out route. And nice throw by Longwell to hit him in stride. Not only does Capital pick up a first down, they get out of bounds as well. And they will huddle before their first down play coming up.
Yeah, having a lot of success passing the ball on this drive, Harrison. Just 3 yards going into this one. 2 big completions now for the Crusaders, a team that's not really known for passing the ball, and they're going to come out of shotgun here on first down.
Just a minute 13 left. 4-man rush for the Cardinals. Longwell throws completed again to Hardy. Michael Greenwell looked like on the coverage was a couple steps behind the back, Bo Hardy, but that ball is completed. Nice pickup of about 7 on first down, and Hardy's able to get out of bounds to stop the clock at 1 minute and 7 seconds. Ball now at the 42-yard line of Otterbein. They're going to have to tighten up now as Capital gets into scoring position. Again, 4-man rush from Otterbein. Longwell on the out.
Dropped it.
Incomplete. That ball really should have been caught. Zach Wyrick, the intended receiver. That ball looked like should have been caught, but falls incomplete, and a big third down coming up here for the Crusaders. Ball at the 37-yard line. Need to reach the 34 for a fresh set of downs. Longwell, the give to Walton, and he is stopped about a yard shy, so he will be stopped at the 35-yard line, 1 yard shy of the line to gain. And the next play after this timeout taken by Capital, the next play will be the game if they cannot convert. So if Otterbein can get one stop, they win this football game, they win the rivalry game, and all is good here in Westerville, Ohio.
Yeah, you'll send Bexley back with a loss and make it 2 consecutive over your rivals, and you'll get a little bit closer to evening that all-time series record, which stands at 42, 44, and 4 in favor of Capital all time. But as we said, Capital clearly, they started this drive with a little over 3 minutes, and they decided in the huddle that they were going to make this their last drive of the game, not hurrying too much, knowing they have enough time for one more drive. If they can't convert here, it's all over, and Otterbein wins now that they only have 1 timeout left. So huge play for the Otterbein defense here, facing this 4th down.
Greaves, Green, and Coleman are the defensive linemen. And Longwell is going to give to Walton up the middle.
I don't
Did
know.
he get it?
I don't know if he got that.
The forward progress, I think they're going to give it to him. The forward progress, I think he might have it. I think they'll probably have to measure. But with the forward progress,
both sides are pointing.
Very, very close.
Both sides are pointing in their own favorable
believes
direction.
Otterbein has stopped him. Wes McKeever's pretty sure. The defense for Otterbein is very sure. They're going to measure, and this measure will decide the game, or decide the fate of the game. Otterbein believes they're short. And here it is.
It's short.
They're short.
It's short.
And Otterbein takes over. Otterbein will win against rival Capital here in Westerville, Ohio, November 2nd. Otterbein with a big win, a big stop from the defense. And they give the ball back to their offense. V formation coming from Sizemore and company. And Otterbein, after losing a couple in a row, will pick up a victory and get back on the right side of the win-loss column.
Seemed to be a pretty favorable spot for the Cardinals there, Harrison.
Initially, it looked like the forward progress that they were giving Walton, it looked like it was going to be a first down. But I think they got the spot correct, though, because he really didn't get very much penetration.
No, he
so,
didn't.
I mean,
He got hit at the line and then really was pushed backwards from that point. I thought that he had it initially, but that spot, he was at least 2 feet short of the first down with that spot when the chain gang went out to measure.
Clock down under 30 seconds. Sizemore takes one final kneel down.
That'll do her.
And that will be the...
Unless Capital called their one timeout, which
and
they did.
Capital calls timeout.
So barring a huge disappointment if they fumble the snap and victory formation, Capital's just hoping and praying at this point, and all they can do is sit back and watch.
Timeout, Capital.
And all they're doing is delaying the inevitable at this point.
The grumblings from the Otterbein crowd.
Capital's third and final timeout.
It's called the victory formation for a reason.
What? You never know. I mean, you have the.
There's been crazy things. The
fumbles,
miracle in the Meadowlands.
Exactly.
There's been crazy plays in football history.
You may as well. I mean, I don't have a problem. With them calling that.
No,
timeout.
you got to do everything you can to try to win.
Mean,
but Ben's able to take the snap and take the knee, so they don't fumble. No miracle.
99.9 times out of 100 is it'll be a clean snap, but that 0.1% chance
Final score.
is always there. But final score, Otterbein will take their record to 4-4, back to 500 for the Otterbein Cardinals. Capital will fall to 1-7. 5-point lead for Otterbein, 19-14. Somewhat of a sloppy win, but a win nonetheless against a bitter rival is always sweet. And Otterbein gets a W on their second to last home game of the season. For the seniors, obviously a nice win, something they can take pride in, knowing that they knocked off their rival in their senior year and won back-to-back games against Capital last year and then this year as well.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned a sloppy game, Harrison, and there's going to be a lot of things Otterbein can look forward to improving this week when they go back and watch the film from this one. Mainly the fact that they allowed almost 300 yards rushing in this contest. Coleman with almost 200 yards rushing himself. There's definitely a lot to pinpoint. They handled the option to a point very effectively in the sense that they only allowed the one long run, Harrison, that being the very first play of the game. Other than that, they can't say that they bottled them up. However, they did allow for no more long rushes in the game. And despite the fact that at the end of the day, the Crusaders had almost 300 yards rushing in this contest, Otterbein's defense still limited them to just 13 points and was able to get the victory.
Yeah, 19-13 win. David, a few questionable coaching calls we saw this afternoon from head coach Tim Daup. In the end, though, it all worked out. Otterbein picks up the win. They go to 500 on the season, 4-4, and now look ahead to Marietta, which will be here next Saturday that you can watch on Otterbein TV. Same time, 1 o'clock pregame, 1:30 kickoff. And looking ahead, David, what can the Otterbein Cardinals salvage from this season? It's been somewhat of a disappointment after finishing 8-2 last season. What can they still get out of the season?
Well, if you look at it, if they do win out and finish the season 6-4, you can hang your hats on that you would have a winning record and would be back-to-back winning records. Obviously, they started the year as one of the teams receiving votes in the polls, and then to finish where they were was a little disappointing. But if you look at it, the 4 teams that they've lost to this year have all been ranked inside the top 25 at one point or another. St. John Fisher, Mount Union, Heidelberg, and John Carroll. 3 of those 4 are still ranked in the top 25 as OAC foes. St. John Fisher fell out. You've played some very tough opponents this year, and you can argue that they haven't played well against them, but they were still very tough opponents, and the teams that you were supposed to beat this year, you have beaten. So that's something you can hang your hat on, and if they can win out the rest of the year, defeating Marietta here and Ohio Northern in Ada next week, you can say that you finished the year undefeated as a winning team, and back-to-back winning seasons is always something to be happy for, especially if you're Coach Tim Daup, who can start your season 2 consecutive winning years.
12-6, the record now for second-year head coach Tim Daup, the Otterbein alum. Played here when he was a student back in the day, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
No offense, Tim Doubt, no offense.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago. wasn't
wearing a leather helmet back then.
He will not be featured in any
no football flashback features on Coach Doubt.
On Cardinal Kickoff.
No.
So, but that'll do it here from our broadcast. This is my final football game that I'll be covering here on Otterbein TV. It's been a great 4 years. I've appreciated all the opportunities, all the different people that have made it possible for me to do this. It's been a lot of fun, and I certainly look forward to basketball season. But next week, I think it's going to be you, David?
Myself and Josh.
Josh
will be leaving the radio room over here and
Okay.
joining us in the TV side.
Well, there's a reason he's in radio, folks, and I think we all understand what that most likely is. You'll see next week. But, again, I appreciate all of the support and all of the opportunities that I've been given by Otterbein TV and the staff and the faculty. Much appreciated. It's been a heck of a ride, a lot of fun, and look forward to basketball season. But Otterbein still has another home game next Saturday. I will not be here, but David and Josh will have all the action for you here. 1 o'clock pregame, 1:30 kickoff. The Marietta Pioneers come to Westerville as they take on the Otterbein Cardinals next Saturday. 1 o'clock pregame, 1:30 kickoff. We certainly hope you enjoyed the broadcast as well as the outcome. I'm Harrison Ralph. This is David Kinder. Thanks for watching. Claire? My first game was against Catholic. My first call was against Catholic.
Your last one?
And my last one, yeah.
How poetic.